everyone. Welcome to the Felicity, Optimist versus Cynic podcast with us, your hosts, Melissa and Fish. This is a Felicity rewatch podcast. We'll watch an episode each week and join you here to talk about it. And a reminder, the one we always give, that this is not a spoiler-free podcast. So there could be things we say as we talk about this episode that will come up in future episodes. And that's just how it goes. Consider yourself warned. I am Melissa. And I'm here with my chartreuse co-host, Fish.
It's an interesting choice of words.
I don't know.
It's a color.
Sure is. It's an adjective. How are you today, Fish?
I'm okay. I have this little bone to pick with you. Oh. You just decided to totally spoil me on this episode last time, and you were like, "All right, someone's getting shot." So this whole episode, the Christmas episode, where I'm like, "Oh, look, mistletoe. Oh, someone's going to get shot." And then I'm like, "Oh, look, Christmas trees, winter wonder, someone's going to get shot." And then we get all the way to the end, and I don't even find out who gets shot.
That's true.
Not cool.
Yeah.
Not cool.
It's kind of an interesting take on the spoiler, right? Because it's a spoiler, but did it actually...
It spoiled the episode for me. It didn't tell me what was going to happen.
Didn't tell you a thing. Yeah.
But it ruined the episode because the whole time I'm like,
bummer.
Someone's going to get shot.
Well, what are we talking about today? We're talking about season 3, episode 11, and To All a Good Night, the Christmas episode, if you will. This one originally aired December 13th, 2000. And I got to tell you, I think that the next one didn't air until like April.
It's
a long wait for a mid-season cliffhanger. So this one was okay. So this one was directed by Stephen Gyllenhaal, and get this. Okay, in the written by section, it says teleplay by Jennifer Levin and Josh Rhimes, story by Julie Blumberg and Joy Gregory. Holy moly!
That's a lot of people.
A lot of people who wanted credit for this. And the episode description is: Felicity's mother visits with plans for a theater outing with her daughter. Sean and Richard buy Christmas trees to sell during the holidays, but the deal proves more challenging than they thought and puts Ben in an awkward situation with his girlfriend's mother. Elsewhere, Tracy tells Elena that he's been accepted to a medical program in Africa, and that start date is in 3 weeks. Molly's ex-boyfriend interrupts the festivities.
I mean, I don't know that it was the trees so much that put him in the bad place with Felicity's mom. Might have been, all of the talk of crack and guns, and not knowing where his life was going. But all right.
This episode description is a little wonky. I like how they just refer to Felicity as his girlfriend's mother. It just, I don't know, just everything about it was kind of funny. I will say before we jump in, because normally I just suggest that you jump in first, but I did want to say, it was interesting because after we recorded the last episode, so Fish and I went back and we watched the Molly and James scene together with the Macy Gray music. And it stuck with me for days.
Oh, so much better with the Macy Gray song.
Well, I might go as far as to say that scene for me is maybe one of the most memorable scenes of the show. Am I going to sit here and try to say top 5, top 10? No, I'm not going to do that. But I think it's a really, really powerful, very interestingly directed scene with cool camera angles. I love the choice to not show the dialogue. That scene sat with me for days after we had seen it and talked about it. So I don't know. Of all people, Molly and James, Molly and James.
They gave an opportunity for that director to do something special. Because I agree. So. I think it's a fantastic scene.
Mostly, and I do think a lot because of the directorial choices. Just really cool. So,
yeah.
I wanted to start there, but where do you want to start talking about this episode?
Well, I think we'll just continue with our trend of starting at the beginning. We've
Okay.
got I mean, this was so we end with that scene, right, from the last episode that's so moving and deep. And then, I mean, this is just, I don't know. I think this is a flaw of the show. They just open up with, oh, Molly's back living with Felicity and Ben. And like, we don't get to see anything that's happened. You know, she left James, she's back in rehab, she's back living with them. Like, I wanted, like, if you're going to give me all of that emotion to hold on to from the last episode, don't just gloss over it and be like, la-di-da, like, I just walked away and here's where we're starting.
Yeah, I guess it sounds like you needed another episode where they showed us like the actual breakup. I think what we're seeing here is I think a very honest depiction of the push and pull that Molly would be feeling, but is missing the event, the event that
The
happened
actual thing
yeah.
where she walks away, because
Yeah.
that's what she kept saying, I can't do. And that's what they kept proving over and over again, that she can't do it. And then we don't see her do it.
Yeah.
And then she
point.
kind of sticks to it in this episode. And I'm like, all right, I mean, fine, but show me the one time when she does it in person.
Yeah. Well, I guess what we do see in this episode is that a decision like that isn't a one-time thing. It's a, boy, she has to make it a lot of times type of thing. But I get your point. Like, you wanted to see the first moment where she was like, no, but really, it's over. And then show us this. Then you have to recommit to that every single day. And they just brought us straight to that point. So, I guess they had something to achieve in this episode, and I think the writers of this episode really stuck to their plan, and maybe we needed something in the middle. I mean, I think part of the plan for this episode was show us the holidays as many ways as you can without telling us it's the holidays.
Well, they're hanging mistletoe, like, first thing.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, they just do all this stuff there. It's like they're decorating the apartment, like there's just all this stuff. And that's what's happening at the ladies' apartment.
But my God, what is Molly wearing? She's like, I don't know, she's got this fluorescent headband. I mean, she looks, I don't know, like a flowered child on an acid trip in the 80s.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know what is going on with this outfit, but
so this is not in line with the spiritual stuff she was wearing before, I guess. Is that fair to say?
I mean, I wouldn't think so, because it's, I mean, fluorescent pink, like, sweatband on your head screams like 80s workout video to me.
Okay.
But then she's got,
this is the new Molly, the new look.
Yeah, all right.
And she's trying to figure out, so we're planning for some sort of party to be happening at the apartment, and Molly's like, cocktail attire? Is that what's that all about? What's going on with the cocktail attire?
Well, she actually asked, what does that mean?
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to think, if I was in college, would I have known what cocktail attire meant?
I barely know what it is now, Fish.
Let's you know honest. What a cocktail dress is?
I would not feel, if somebody told me that there was a specific dress code required, any dress code for anything, I would severely second guess myself, and I'd have to like do Google searches for what people think that means.
All right. Well, there's like business, and then there's like high evening, right? So there's like a suit, and then there's like, an outfit you'd wear out to the opera. And cocktail is in the middle. It's like a shorter dress, or like just a little less fancy than, like, you don't have, maybe not everywhere sequins. It's a cocktail dress. It's fancy. It's a little informal, and it's something you can.
For me, every dress is formal in a way, because I don't wear dresses. So when somebody's like an informal dress, I'm like, I wear a dress maybe once every 3 years.
It doesn't have to be a dress.
To-do.
It could be like a jumpsuit. but it's not jeans.
Yeah.
And it's you could do black pants with like a fancy top.
Hmm.
I
Okay.
mean, man, when Carrie Russell walks in with that silver top on, I think that's
Yeah.
probably, maybe besides the red dress, like the most gorgeous thing she's ever worn
Well, we'll get to
so
that scene
far.
later, but I have other things to say about her look there. Um, so
So Molly's back.
we're positioning the fact that like there's a holiday party coming up, that they're organizing it. We're not going to see the party till the end, but they're prepping for it along the way. Ben, well, so Molly is saying, oh man, it was just, I went back to James. It was so stupid to go back to James. Like, and
Mm.
then Felicity's well, Carrie Russell is given this dialogue that was just so shoehorny. It was
I
like
know. Exposition right now.
so much exposition. She's like, well, no. I'm going to be supportive here because it wasn't, you realized that you didn't want to be with him. And then you went to rehab and then you came back here. And then, like Sean's good now and we all survived final. I was like, wow.
Yeah. Well, and then they continue because she's like, all right, well, here's all the exposition of where we've been, and here's where we're going. We're going to Florida. My mom's coming. We're going to borrow Sean's car, maybe. I mean, she's setting everything up, too.
It's like they were trying to do a previously on for the episode that
Yes.
you wanted to see, but they didn't actually have. And it
Correct.
was just all in 30 seconds of
Yes.
Carrie Russell dialogue as Felicity. It was actually hysterical.
Yeah.
She must have looked at that on the page and been like, wow.
Yeah.
All right. But it comes off, initially it's like, no, Molly, don't be hard on yourself. Like, you did good. We've all done well.
Yeah. Everything's fine, and here's
plan.
all our plans for the future. It's all fine. And then, dun dun dun, James calls.
Yeah. And Felicity picks up. James is obviously looking for Molly. Felicity's like, she's not here. James, we think, is probably being threatening on the phone because that's how he is. He's menacing and threatening, and he doesn't
All the other bad words.
Yeah. And she's like, I'm not lying to you. And then Ben grabs the phone and he starts lying. He's like, Molly's not here. And then he's like, oh, and I love it's just so Ben, this side of the conversation. He's like, just stop calling. Just calm down. Okay, calm. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay.
It's like,
right.
What did he say? Like, I can't.
Surely something that didn't warrant a thank you,
No.
I'm guessing. No. And then who walks in but Meghan and Felicity's mom?
Yeah, and Ben has had it. I mean, he's got this chip on his shoulder through this whole episode where he's just mad, and he's not facing the door where Felicity's mom is slowly walking in with Meghan, and Ben's just going off. He's like, this guy is crazy. He's such a dick, he's a crackhead. He had a gun.
He didn't have a gun.
And her mom is just like walking in. And I will say, to her credit, she doesn't immediately freak out. She gives Felicity a couple of looks, but I don't know. If I was a parent walking in, hearing the words crackhead and if he didn't have a gun,
yeah, you'd have a level of concern.
I probably would. Yeah, I would be feeling a certain way.
And I appreciate that Meghan sort of calls out the elephant in the room because it's like, when did you get here? Meghan's like, somewhere between crackhead and has a gun.
Yes.
It's just like, in case you're all wondering how much she heard, I'm just going to be very clear and lay that out for everybody in this room. But they just sort of leave that where it is. It's like the end of the
little
scene.
Placement.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens later.
And ultimately, it actually sets up quite a lot that's happening in this episode. But it's, there it is. And, something else that we're going to set up. So Noel is he's going to Dean and DeLuca, right?
Yeah. Why is he still at Dean and DeLuca?
Well, he's bringing a poinsettia a thank you poinsettia,
He's bringing it or he's buying it?
I thought he was bringing it.
Why would you bring a a plant to a coffee shop? Like,
no,
I don't
I
understand. I don't
assumed that it
understand.
was a thank you poinsettia. Like while Dean and Jaliuka was very decorated for the holidays, I don't think that they were just like selling pots of flowers.
All right.
So
Who
my
knows?
interpretation was that he had it in his arms and he was trying to gift it to her as a thank you because, hey, we got the icebox gift. We're
Ah,
gonna
see, I did
do
not connect all of that. I was just like, is he just holding it? Is he bringing it? Like, is he going to decorate home with it? Like,
one might
ah.
say that even my interpretation doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, I think
Well, but
every
let's
version of
remember,
this,
Noel always likes to have things in his hands.
that's true.
So for this scene,
That
it was a
works.
plant.
Yeah. And we find out, so they're going to do more Loser Pet Store because they got the gig.
Hmm.
And, but we're also finding out all kinds of answers to questions
Hmm.
in this
Hmm.
episode. So Noel is a little depressed about Christmas.
Is he single?
He's single, except,
Sort of.
sort of like Natalie's in Germany with a guy named Ludwig. There
Of
hasn't been an
course.
annulment because she's been in Germany,
With
as you
Mr.
do.
Beethoven.
Yeah. Um, and so he's just feeling it. He's feeling that he's by himself. There's no Jane, there's no Ruby, there's no Natalie. It's just
And
Noel.
Felicity's going to make him feel better because she's going to start confiding in him all about Ben, all of her Ben problems. Like, doesn't think that
Yeah.
her mom likes Ben, which let's admit she doesn't. And then she's like, "Oh, you want to be alone for the holidays? Too bad. You come into our party."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's that, right? We have
Yeah.
to set that up. So that's set up now.
Hmm.
And now in other news,
I know.
Sean and Richard have a new entrepreneurial idea because Richard's still looking for ways to fund the free pizza Friday fund,
Yeah, the
and
toppings are killing
it's
him.
killing him. So the new move, we're going to sell Christmas trees.
Yes, at a markup.
Yeah.
Gonna buy all the trees way before Christmas. And then, like 3 days before Christmas, when all those desperate people need trees, we're
Mm-hmm.
just gonna charge them like $50. Like, we're really gonna gouge them. That
Mm-hmm.
is the Christmas spirit right
That's
there.
it. That's it.
Hmm.
And to go a step further with the Christmas spirit, Sean's going to pressure Ben into helping them with that and ditch all of his plans and
Yeah,
basically his whole relationship
yeah.
and his relationship with his, I don't know, hope to be maybe one day in law. Who's to say what this woman would ever be to him? But
Huh.
he's going to put a little wrinkle in that because Ben has to help with the trees.
Yeah, because I mean, Sean lets him stay there, when he doesn't pay rent. And Ben wants to use the car. And I mean, he's just like completely manipulating Ben. Uh,
And Ben has some
yeah.
time pressure here because Felicity's mom's in town and they have plans together for that night. The plan is they got tickets to a play, Copenhagen,
Yes.
and they're all supposed to go there, three of them.
Hmm.
And this selling trees or moving trees or whatever Ben has to do with the trees is going to cut dangerously close into that.
Well, it'll make him late. He'll
Yeah.
be late. But
Yeah.
we're not there. We're not there just yet. We're gonna sell the Christmas trees, and then we're gonna cut to Tracy and Elena.
Yeah.
Isn't isn't this
This feels a bit like in a way, I feel like the show is trying to address some of the complaints you've had with Elena in the writing. Whether or not you feel good about Elena is a different issue, but I think the issues you were raising, the show's like, yeah, she doesn't really get it.
Yeah, she still doesn't.
Yeah. And they're going to go to great lengths to demonstrate it here. I think, we're where we left off with Tracy and Elena was that they just had sex and Tracy was looking stunned, maybe
Really
remorseful, freaked out about the fact that they did. Elena
And
was looking
Elena,
happy.
yeah, Elena was like, "You are so great at this."
Yeah, she was looking satisfied in all the ways, right? And Tracy just, it was obviously a real conflict for him. And
Mm.
so when we open this episode with them, Tracy is basically mourning his virginity.
Yeah, he says that. I mean, that is those are the words he uses. He's like, I'm mourning the situation
Mm-hmm.
to Elena. And she I don't want to say she's trying to understand the situation, because I kind of don't think she is. She's sitting with her back to him,
Mm-hmm.
and he's laying on the bed, still kind of stunned. And she's rapid firing these questions at him, like, you know, do you regret it? Do you hate me? All this kind of stuff. And he's like, was the experience good? Like, yeah, but this is a big deal for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she just, I don't know, it feels like she just doesn't get it.
No, she really doesn't seem to. And I think, if anything, now, because of the line of questioning she's providing, it's like she's starting to feel, I don't know if defensive is the full word I would use here, but she's thinking about herself.
Yeah.
She's asking these questions with herself in mind. Like, like, are you, I think, I think that she's looking at it like, wait, are you regretting this? Like, as
Yeah.
if there would be disappointment on the other end of that if he said yes. And yeah, they're not on the same page with this. And I think he's deeply aware of that.
Yeah.
And I
And I
guess,
don't know that she is. I think she continues to think he's going to come around to her side of things. And she just has to like wait, or like reason long enough, or whatever it is. Like, the fact that they even had sex is kind of like, well, he's come over to my side. I kind of feel like she maybe thought of it as validation.
or maybe like this
And
would be the turning point. But when it proves not to be the turning point,
right.
I think that's a real disruptor for her. And so for them at the end of this conversation, for Tracy to say, you know what, so I was accepted into this program, this Crossroads Africa. It's it's ends up being described as basically a medical center for HIV. He'd be gone for a full semester. He'd leave in 3 weeks. It's basically, I couldn't tell. It doesn't sound exactly like a study abroad, but it sounds like and it didn't sound like an internship abroad, but it sounds like he'd get school credit for doing what it sounded like a volunteer position.
Yeah, I mean, he says he's accepted to it. So to
Mm-hmm.
me, it sounded like a mini, like, Doctors Without Borders type experience.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
But my interpretation of this is that it's not something that would push him an extra half year in his graduation, but that it's like
no,
part
I
of,
don't think so.
like, he gets school credit somehow for doing this program. Um,
Yeah. I mean,
so
it's practical work on the ground. I think it's probably, worth school credit.
mhm.
Um, but Elena's reaction to this is, oh, that's what med schools like really look for. And while Tracy, is all gung ho med school, like, there's also a whole spiritual component to his volunteering. Habitat for Humanity, which he had done earlier, is like a Christian organization. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if Crossroads Africa is a real organization. I didn't look it up, but the word crossroads makes me feel like this is potentially a Christian organization. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like she just blows right over that. Plus, there
Well,
was
and
this weird music playing for me. I don't know what was
okay.
playing for you, but it was like some C-rate, like R&B 90s stuff that nobody'd ever heard of.
Okay.
It was weird.
Well, I think the other component to this as well, and it's not really highlighted in this scene, but it will be in a later discussion, is I think that, yeah, there's a med school component, there's a spiritual component, but there's also, to me, an escapism component to this, like a literal escape from the current situation.
I mean, I
Um,
think he takes that and he says that, but he does say here, look, we were not together when I applied for this.
mhm.
So he wasn't really taking her into consideration when he first
Yeah.
applied for this. So I don't know, maybe it was still escape from the situation of not talking to her, but I definitely feel like his eventual choice.
Yeah, his eventual choice, I think, will come from that place as well. I mean, in this scene, he hasn't made a decision. He's revealing that a decision needs to be made. But if you're in Elena's shoes on this, and you just had sex with him, and you're hoping that he's now like going to be seeing the light about the sexual relationship he wants to have, and then for him to be like, look, for him to be so weighing out this choice instead of just being like, I got accepted, but I'm going to ditch it because we're in this great place. That's not where he is when he's delivering this information to her. So, that's going to be invalidating for her if she was looking for the fact that they just took their relationship to another level to be like the be all end all. It's clearly not. Mm-hmm. And he's now in a decision making mode that is about something that doesn't involve her. And, just think it's one of the many facets that's so interesting about these people.
Well, it's a tough place to be, but, technically she made her bed, and now they are both lying in it.
It's very true. And who else is, lying in the bed they made is Sean, Richard, and Ben have so many trees to move.
So many trees.
They get to the lot and they're like, which ones are ours? The guy's like, everything the light touches.
Yeah.
It's a Lion King reference that came to my head that felt very appropriate for this moment. I was like, that's a lot of trees.
All the trees. All the trees. Prepared. The entire forest is yours.
Yeah. And so we're going to see that now that we know that this is never going to happen for Ben, we're going to cut to Felicity and her mom at the theater. They're waiting for Ben.
Beautiful architecture, and they're talking about Lagaloo, which is this very famous restaurant and like fancy restaurant. And
they didn't tell us, they never told us what that theater is, right? It's just beautiful on the inside, but we only got the inside. It's like this lovely staircase, and you can see the decorative ceiling, and it's a beautiful space.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think we got a name for it.
And I really like, I don't know if they meant to do this, but I'm giving them credit, whether they did or not. But I felt when I was watching this, like, all right, here's this beautiful architecture. Here's this fancy restaurant. Here's this, Stamford Hotel and Spa that her mom is going to talk to Felicity about. Like, this is the world that her mom is used to.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the other side, you've got Ben with like sap on his shirt, like hauling trees around in like cars that don't work, talking about crackheads and guns.
Yeah.
And like, they do this really nice job, I think, of kind of giving us as the viewer almost a little bit more maybe empathy for Felicity's mom, or, at least being able to see it a bit from her perspective of like, this is her daughter, and this is not what she's used to.
Yeah, I think they do a really good job with that here in this episode, where I think you really do see it from everybody's point of view as you're going through. And you can see also why people are rubbed the wrong way, in the various moments. For one thing, we're getting the idea that Felicity's mom came to New York with the assumption that Felicity and her would go back home together and spend the holiday together. So her mom had a plan that this was basically going to be the launch of her holiday plans, except we already know that Felicity has plans to go to Florida with Ben. And so that's going to come to light here as they're waiting for Ben, where it's like, oh, did you not get the letter where I told you like that I wasn't doing Christmas? Oh, okay, you didn't.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, why would you only send that in a letter? Okay. And not like talk to someone on the phone. And second of all, I I didn't believe her mom. I think her mom got the letter,
and just decided to
pretended
like
she didn't get
be
it.
passive aggressive and like
Well,
force
because,
her hand.
yeah, I think she really did not like what was going on with Ben.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, I want to remove my daughter from this. Let's go to a hotel.
Mm-hmm.
Let's leave together. Like, I'm removing you from this situation.
That's an
That's
interesting
how I
take.
took
Yeah.
it.
Okay, I
Because,
like
like,
that take.
Felicity says, maybe I should call Ben. And her mom immediately is like, oh, he's got a few more minutes. Like, don't even bother.
Mm-hmm.
Right? She's like, I don't want
It's like
anything to
must
do with this guy.
separate, yeah, her from Ben. Yeah, I like that interpretation. I think that checks out here. Well,
Poor
we are now
Ben.
going to have we have a lot of short Molly scenes, a lot of short receiving phone call scenes, but we're going to get one here where Molly's at the lady's apartment. She's the only one there.
Alone. She's decorating.
Sure is. And James calls, and you pretty much have an idea that he's been calling, and
Yeah.
Molly picks up. But when she picks up, you kind of have a sense that she figures it's going to be James.
Mm-hmm.
And so, Molly's doing this thing that felt very real to me where she's talking with him and she's like, nope, nope, we're not a thing. You can't call me. He's like, but you called me.
Uh-huh.
And you can just feel that there's this real push pull that's happening internally for her, where it's like the part of her that was drawn to James is still drawn to James, but the part of her that doesn't want to be drawn to James anymore is also there. And so it's just that internal war that's happening. And in this moment, she's trying to win that war. But, James is probably encouraged by the fact that he got a call from her. And it sounds like they didn't speak, but he saw her name on caller ID before she hung up. So,
Yeah. And she does manage to hang up on him, but it's this really, really hesitant. Like, am I going to hang up? Am I not? And James, of course, is on the other end being very threatening, saying, don't hang up. Don't you dare. Um, do
but you can
you?
also see in his voice, I think one of the things that I like about how they had him do this was he's trying to draw her in, right? So he's like, just meet with me. And he's
Mhm.
got that sort of dulcet tone, right? And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, you're hanging up. Don't you hang up on me.
Yeah,
It's like, just wow.
he's trying
Guy.
everything he can,
Yeah.
right? He's got all the tricks. And we've seen this all along, right? It's the like
Well, but
telling
we
her to
were,
come here
it's
and then
true.
like putting the hand on her shoulder.
That's a good
It's
point.
the he starts yelling at her and then she steps back because he's holding her and then he throws his hands up in the air and he tries to reason with her and like he goes back and forth trying to basically just do
Manipulate the
anything he
situation.
can
Yeah.
to get her to be back with him.
And we saw it too, in the conversation that he had. Well, anytime any of the other housemates or any of the other friends are around them when they're having these conversations, you've also seen that conflict of him trying to sort of draw in Molly while like telling everybody to back off in a
Mm-hmm.
very threatening way. And so now he's like fully doing that with Molly too.
Yeah,
But
but
you're
I
right.
think
I
he
think we
has
saw that
been.
before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's their dynamic. Do you remember what music was playing?
No,
Okay.
honestly, the only real music that stuck out to me was the fact that they had like a lot of different like soft versions of holiday carols in the background for certain things. And then
Yes,
they had
that's
like a
that's what it
specific
was.
music choice at the end that was
Yes.
noteworthy to me. Not because I knew the song, but just because it was like they made a real point of it in the scene.
Okay.
Um, but
Well,
no,
so it kind of bugged me through this whole episode because they do have some serious stuff going on, and yet Silent Night is playing in the back, or like
yeah.
some other, Christmas carol. And I'm like, this is so weird. Why are you making Silent Night creepy?
Yeah, I don't know. It
So
was the holiday episode, right? And I guess this is how they
yes,
tried to do it.
I
Because
had trouble with the music.
Yeah, that seems fair. Well, all right. So now we're going to see that the problem that we thought was going to happen is really happening. Ben has a truck loaded full of trees. He's supposed to drive it because he's the one that can drive stick. And
Yep.
he's really in a rush. Like he's probably already late or very close to being like he knows he's going to be. He gets in the truck and the truck won't start.
And he just freaks out behind the wheel.
Yeah, he's just like, damn it. He's just like slamming the steering wheel. He's so frustrated. I love this choice of how they cut this. This is a nod to Stephen Gyllenhaal, I would say, the director, where they go from Ben frustrated in the car, like slamming his hands against the steering wheel, going, damn it. And then all of a sudden they do a really quick cut to him in the theater walking briskly to try to catch up with, you could just see his face so serious. And he's like, oh, I'm so late. You could just see it on his face. And he's walking in this beautiful theater. And then he catches up with Felicity and her mom. I loved the cut between those two things.
That's so funny because I found it really jarring.
I think that was the point.
Yeah, but he's like in the car with the trees. And then all of a sudden he's in the playhouse. And I'm like, what happened to the trees, dude? Like I guess you got the car started and okay. It just felt really like,
yeah, I didn't need to know what happened with the trees. I just loved that choice. I loved how it was just so like, that he just came from this hellhole of a situation where he was just fretting about like Felicity's mom the entire time. And then he's just like put on brave face, walking quickly, like must get to this appointment. Like it was just so, and then like to go from him being in like a very dark, like closed in dark inside the truck, narrow space, and then all of a sudden he's just in this beautiful hall.
Yeah, full of light with no people because they're all inside watching the play. They're all inside,
and he's probably the only person in the building who's not working the event, who's as rushed and frantic as he is. Felicity and her mom were just having conversations about a nice dinner and like, this guy has got a different vibe happening right now. And
Ben,
it's through absolutely no fault of his own.
I mean, he could have said no, but still, yeah.
I mean, at a certain point, Sean's doing him favors, so it's just like, okay, well, so this is where it goes from bad to worse, and we find some interesting information here too. So first, he says hi to Miss Porter, and she's like, Miss Hunter now.
Yeah.
Which Felicity hadn't even wrapped her head around yet. And she's like, so she corrects him straight away. She's like, that's not who I am. And then he's like, I'm so sorry, I'm late. They're like, it's fine, just grab the tickets, we'll go inside. He's like, oh,
I know.
I don't have the tickets.
It's one of those moments where like you want him to just smile and be like, I'm kidding, here they are. But no, it's real. It's like that nightmare you have where you haven't studied for the test and you're not wearing pants, except you're really there.
Yeah, it's
terrible.
Bad. It's a nightmare. And then Barbara Hunter drops the not very subtle hints. She's like, you know what? And Felicity's like, well, maybe let's just do the dinner. Barbara's like, no, you know what? I'm tired. Maybe I'll just go back to the hotel room. Felicity's like, I'll join you. We'll make a whole thing of it. And then with an assumption like Ben would come. And then Ben's like, you two just go do that.
Yeah. He's just sort of like, he's been through so much already. He's like, go have some quality time. There's basically nothing he can do except say, I'm sorry. Right.
Yeah, which he does, and he's honest about it. And then Barbara, out of sheer politeness, is like, would you like to come with us? But when she says, would you like to come with us, it's with a clear undertone of, Ben, you are not coming with us under any circumstances. That was something you were very not welcome to do.
Yes.
Ben reads the subtext and he's like, nope, you know what? This is your
You
thing.
go ahead.
Yeah. I thought that was great.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, this actress, what's her name?
Eve Gordon.
Eve Gordon. Come on. Come on,
Yeah.
Eve. Your eye acting in the first episode. your do you want to come with us, with the subtext of don't you ever think about coming with us right now. She's just magic.
Yeah. I mean, everything from like checking Ben's butt out alongside her daughter the first time we see her to like Javier fangirling all over her. I mean, what more? What more could we
really
want?
enjoy this actress, and I enjoy the character of Barbara. And
Hunter.
sometimes you find her so frustrating, and sometimes you find her so compelling, and sometimes you're just like, what are you doing with those eyes, Eve Gordon?
Well, I mean, she's got some questions, which frankly, I think are warranted. Like, I have been asking some of these questions, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, Felicity and her mom, they're going to have some quality time. And so Barbara says, you know, does Ben get in a lot of fights?
And Felicity ends up describing one that isn't the fight she had heard about.
Exactly.
That's a problem.
She's trying to minimize it, and she's making it way worse.
Yeah. I was like, so there was more than one. How many fights has he been? No, it was just the two. Because at this point, Felicity knows that her mom only knows about the two. So she's not going to be like, it was just the 7. No, it's not a thing that she's not going to go there.
Yeah. There was a beatdown, but it was very quick on a very clean street.
Very clean street.
And then there was a second beatdown that was not as quick on a less clean street.
Right.
Yeah.
And then there was pommeling a bunch of individuals separately.
Yes.
But many of whom he loved. Mm-hmm. It's like, come on. So
there was a beer can at one point, but he was very sorry.
He was very sorry.
So sorry. He was so sorry.
Yeah. I enjoyed when they had this dialogue in the cab. I was just like, Fish is gonna love this.
Yeah.
Fish is gonna love this scene. The whole scene. And then her mom's gets into like, she gets into school. Okay, great. So how your class is doing? What's Ben's major?
She is just grilling Felicity.
Yeah, it was the not so subtle segue straight through what Felicity's doing, right back to Ben not having a major.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Felicity's like, well, there's none. She's like, but isn't he a junior? And she's like, but
everybody changes.
Things. Yeah, it's fine.
Not a problem.
She's like, well, what subjects is he interested in? Surely he's close to arriving at this decision. She's like, you know what, Mom? I think you have the wrong impression of Ben.
She's like, well, all right. It's just okay. She takes a breath. Mm-hmm. She's like, all right. Give me the right impression.
And again, I like I'm sure this was written into the script, but also the way that she delivered it, I thought was good. Her first instinct was to bite it, to get defensive about it, to, pick the bone. But she does. She sort of swallows for a moment. She takes that breath and she's like, give me the right impression. I think maybe this is a product of having had enough experience with Felicity in college now, this more independent version of Felicity, where maybe she's seen the moments where her husband might have done something like that with Felicity and seen how it didn't perhaps yield the intended result.
Or, I mean, I guess the way I read it was, this is the more independent Barbara. This is always who she was. Mm-hmm. And it was her reactions to the way she was treated by her husband that maybe, she was quiet a lot while he was there grilling her, and she kind of got used to maybe
like, this is how we treat these.
On.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, oh no,
and then she's like, no, but wait, I actually get to say the thing that I want to say instead.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think there's lots of cool ways to look at her trying to, because at the end of the day, Barbara's trying to find herself. And that's something we start to see a little bit in this episode. But I think that we'll sort of see little glimmers of that in the future as well. It's not that she's ever a huge character in this show, but I think the moments that we get her, we'll see that she's trying to build out her own world. And
kudos to her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's really great.
So, okay, we're going to go back to the loft that is now filled with trees.
Now, did we say the line though? Maybe I missed it.
Oh,
that Felicity just, to give her mom the right impression, the whole thing she says is, I love him.
Yeah.
And we just kind of leave it there. Like, we don't really see any more back and forth. I mean, I would have more questions. Like, great, you love him. What about the gun and the crack?
Yeah.
And the other fights.
And I guess, Felicity backing up her whole argument by saying, I love him, is something that, because we know that Barbara's got like an avatar for what she thinks Ben represents. Mm-hmm. And because Felicity says, I love him, and that's her whole explanation, it makes the situation worse for Barbara, I think, instead of better, where I think she has a different reaction later when she has a conversation with Ben, because it busts the avatar.
Well, yeah. I mean, his just straightforward honesty and, it just, everything. Yeah. I mean,
the meaningful I love you argument can't be effectively made from Felicity's side. Like, for Felicity to get through to Barbara in this moment, she needs to be like, point one. Like she needs to have a bullet pointed list with proof and facts and data and citations. And for Ben, there needs to be a genuine not being Paul Conrad that needs to come across. So
yeah,
I
mean, her mom is getting a lot of information all at once.
Yeah.
And I can't really fault her for reacting to it.
Yeah.
But she does need a little more information because she doesn't really know what's going on. Yeah. So I think it's good that they sort of get her there over time.
Yeah. Well, we're going to go to the loft now, which is filled with trees. Trees.
It's completely filled with trees. And here's the thing. It must smell really good. And I could see this as like this winter wonderland. You're walking through the trees, and they make every scene with the trees a total bummer. Yeah. And I was really upset by that. I was like, this looks so pretty. I'd love to be walking, around in these trees. Yeah. And they're just like, no, we're going to drop poop on it.
In a way, maybe that's some of the choices that I liked in this episode, with the sort of juxtaposition of things. It might be the same reason why I liked the shot from Ben in the truck to Ben walking briskly at the theater, because it's this scene sort of has that same thing for me, where we're going to see, we have a mid shot of Felicity and Ben. Felicity has arrived at the loft, and she's, I think, really unpacking her own lots of information about where her mom is with things. And she's feeling, it seems like, a bit guilty. She's feeling bad about stuff with her mom. She's, I think, jarred by the fact that she's now Ms. Hunter. Like, her mom now goes by a totally different name. She's like, and I sent that letter, and I don't know.
She's got to figure out with the letters. I mean, hopefully she didn't hand it to Meghan, because we know Meghan doesn't mail things.
That's the thing. Yeah, I think after all this, Felicity is kind of softening on her, or I don't know, like losing her conviction on her holiday plans. And she's just sort of breaking the news to Ben that, I'm just thinking about maybe spending the holidays with her. And if you're Ben in that situation, how many times has Felicity been like, I'm thinking about doing something, and she's already done it? Like, she's already committed full bore.
That is 100%. I mean, he just looks at her, and he absolutely knows she's decided to spend Christmas with her mom.
Yeah. And it's tough too.
He's just kind of like, nah, what can he do?
There's not really a lot, right? Because on the one hand, he doesn't feel great about what's being set up here between himself and Felicity's mom. He's pretty sure that a good impression isn't being made. And but at the same time, like, Felicity is raising delicate points about, this change of dynamic between them, Felicity and her mom. And like, things are delicate with the whole family probably. And, what can he say? If Ben digs in his heels here, it's not a good look.
No, but I also think he wouldn't try to do that.
Yeah.
But I think he and Felicity have a number of these conversations sort of throughout where I feel like a lot is being left unsaid.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is the first one where it's like, all right, she's thinking about having, going and making sure her mom isn't alone on holidays.
Mm-hmm.
Fine. But she's also kind of doing it because her mom has all this anxiety about Ben.
Yeah.
Which,
like, how
Ben
much of this is manipulation by the mom? How much of this is guilt that is well placed from Felicity about, or even not, but that's just what she feels because she always felt that with her family.
Well, I feel like at least from Ben's perspective, and he'll go into it later, it's a little bit like, how much of her worry are you buying into?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like you're recognizing and legitimizing her concerns by, saying maybe you'll go back with her instead of coming to Florida. So I feel like slowly over time, he's like getting more and more upset because he feels like, Felicity and her mom
like, Felicity's like, mom is almost turning her,
turning her, or not even, it's sort of like dialing up Felicity's own concerns.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think Ben is coming from a place of like, Felicity's mom is changing her mind about me. It's more like, these are concerns Felicity already has and has had, and they're based on his own insecurities.
Yeah. I think it's a really good point.
He addresses it later.
Yeah. And I think your point about, conversations where things are left unsaid, in this conversation, Ben almost doesn't speak. Yeah. So almost everything he's thinking is left unsaid here. And we are going to see that he sort of starts to put more and more of his thoughts in. I actually really like Ben in this episode, I think. I think it's really interesting. There's a lot for us to talk about with Ben. I
think there's a lot for Noel too, honestly, and Felicity's mom, and pretty much everyone but James. I really don't.
Right? Like, they just never try to give James a lot. But I think you're right. I think it's just about everybody here gets like a lot of cool depth and conflict. So what I love about the way they end this scene is we go into a wide shot, kind of almost angled down at Felicity and Ben, where you can just see all the trees in the apartment. And it's so just this very like mystical setting. Almost in another situation, it would be an enchanting setting, but there's just this horrid conversation happening that's really like all this stuff is under it. I love that.
Like, as I said, it's like this magical forest that they're throwing crap all over.
I love it.
It upsets me.
Because who needs a magical forest without the crap is what I want to know.
Me. I want the magical forest.
Switched Optimist versus Cynic roles, I think, for a moment there.
I don't think so, because you said it's wonderful the way it is, and I said it's a crap-filled forest.
There I was trying to be optimistic about our change of roles, and you're like, no, we didn't change roles. Listeners, what do you make of us? That's my question.
We're friends.
So we're going to head back to the ladies' apartment, where we're getting a Barbara and Noel scene, which was actually kind of a delightful pairing, to be honest with you.
It really is. I mean, this was pretty well telegraphed that she was going to just love Noel. But the two of them, I mean,
Yeah,
I
Noel's
agree.
talking about loser
Delightful.
pet store, and Barbara is eating it up. She's like, "Can I get Dijon mustard with this?" She's just like slathering on the condiments. She's
Yeah.
smiling. She's loving the character. She's loving the ideas. She's
Well, she
laughing.
loves the all she loves, I think, the fact that he's got a direction, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's also the way that Noel talks about Felicity,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's like, you know, the advice at least I was given is like if you're meeting your boyfriend's mother for the first time, you just always tell her like what a wonderful son she raised and like all of the good things, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's what she wants to hear, and Noel feels that way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he's charming her. He's
Yeah.
completely charming her.
And Felicity is going to arrive in the middle of this, and she's like, "Oh, you guys are talking about." And Barbara had a plan,
Hmm.
but Barbara was going to stick around, but Barbara's like, "You know what? You two spend time together."
Exactly. Unlike Ben, who she was like, don't even bother calling him. If he's late or doesn't show up, cool. She's like, no, no,
Right.
no.
She's like, "I'm
I
going to
will leave.
excuse myself because I
Yeah,
want you two to have quality time working on Loser Pet
exactly.
Store."
Yes.
Um,
I'll just go shopping. It'll be fine.
she invites Noel to dinner,
Yeah.
which you don't at this moment understand the context for how awkward that is. But then when you later see that it's going to be Ben and Felicity and Noel are
That is exactly who I thought was coming to
okay.
dinner. That is
Yeah.
like 100% when she invited Noel to dinner. I was like, oh, that's going to be awkward
That's weird. Yeah.
because clearly she's trying to like throw Noel in front of Felicity and get rid of Ben.
Yeah. It's not great. All
Nice
right.
try.
So we're back to the loft. Meghan is
I
walking
know.
amongst the trees.
I can't help it. I love this fight they're going to have. I
Just,
just love it.
fight of the week.
Yeah,
Whose idea was the
it's
trees?
amazing.
Meghan is certain that she proposed this idea to Sean. She runs a list of all the ideas that she proposed around alongside it.
Yeah,
She
months
was
ago.
like, it was one of these five that I mentioned months ago.
One of
And
the barely
then,
legal ideas for making quick cash.
yeah. And Sean's like, wait, what are you talking about? This was in my idea book. She's like,
Hmm.
show me. He's like, it was stolen in a robbery. She's like,
He's
uh-huh.
like, are you accusing me of lying? And she's like, yes. You took my idea, cut me in on the profits.
50-50. He's like, can't even be done. Richard's got 25%. She's like,
20.
Rich, or 20%. She's
He's
like,
not even worth
Richard,
20.
what are you
Come
talking
on.
about?
What is this?
And yeah, so
So
she wants to be cut in
she wants
50
to,
50.
yeah. And
Um,
here Sean, I think, makes a big mistake.
mm,
I'm not loving this line from Sean. He's given me Noel season 1 vibes on this one.
uh-oh.
All the profits are going to be spent on you anyway. So why do you care where, the money goes? I mean,
Yeah.
not okay.
Well, this is going to result in breakup number
Yes.
532 between them. But don't worry, folks. They're going to be back together by the end of the episode. It's okay. If you were worried that the trees were going to be their undoing, it's not to be. But
No,
yeah,
just we have to remember this is their kink.
that's it.
They break up and they make up.
That's
It's
how it
what they do.
happens. Well, okay, look, we're going to go to a darker scene here. So Molly
Yeah.
and Ben are coming back to the ladies' apartment. They're coming off of the elevator, going to the door to get in.
Note that Ben
And
is walking Molly home.
he is
But
walking Molly
is
home.
does he walk Felicity home? Like when has he ever walked Felicity home by saying he's walking Felicity home to like protect her?
It's true.
No. But he's walking Molly home.
Or at least they haven't shown us that. So when they get to the door, James is hanging in the hallway on the stairwell.
Yeah. They have given him this hat that is just a really unfortunate hat. It covers up all his beautiful hair and just kind of makes him, I don't know, I guess kind of look like a regular guy, but because he's taller than Ben and he's, I don't know, he's less beautiful with the hat
Mhm.
on. And so I guess he can become more menacing.
Yeah. Um, So James is confused, man. It's like
What? Yeah.
Molly's telling him to scram, but he's like, you called me again.
Oh,
Like we
I
haven't
thought it
seen
was
these.
still the same
Oh,
call.
I don't know. I interpreted it that it was more than one call, but
Ah,
um it could be either
could have
way.
been.
Anyway,
Yeah.
like he's stuck on this. It's like, but you called me. And she's like, I don't want to talk. Ben's jumping in now, and he's trying to be like, you gotta leave, man. And he's just like very like aggressive hand motions. Stay out of this. Um,
James is.
James is like very much trying to be like, quiet, quiet you. Like I'm trying to have a conversation with Molly, which is really what the other two were trying to avoid. So it's just
Yeah.
this very
I mean,
tense.
Molly she is literally hiding behind Ben. Like she's
Yeah.
taken a step back behind him. And, James is now used to this the type of interaction with Ben where Ben is soft spoken, eyes down, mollifying, de-escalating.
Mm-hmm.
And Ben still clearly looks scared, you know?
Yeah.
But he's like, I'm not staying out of it. I mean, as I said, he's got this chip on his shoulder throughout this episode where he is not happy with the way that he had to act because of the gun. And James just he he's I don't know, he's clearly unstable, and I don't know exactly why he's doing this, whether he's like just getting off on it or he thinks it's funny, but he's like trying to scare Ben a bit. He's like, stepping towards him quickly, and Ben is not balking. He's like, I'm
Yeah, he's trying
standing
to
right
make Ben
here.
flinch literally in this
Yeah.
scene, and Ben doesn't. Ben
Mhm.
stands his ground, but you can tell he's
Yeah. He's
freaked on
scared.
the inside. And James is just, it looks like James is about to leave. I don't know if he actually did leave at this moment because this is the end of the scene, but when we're going to see Ben describe this situation later, it makes it sound like it took a little more than this to make James leave.
Hmm.
So I don't actually, well, let's actually talk about, so we're going to see dinner happening, the dinner that we knew was going to be so awkward. Mom
But
and
I do want to say just really quickly on that last scene, I do think in that last scene, James was supposed to be high. The way that he was kind of acting
yeah,
sort of off and like sort of coming at Ben and then smiling about it, it seemed like he was a little off.
it comes off that way. I think there must have been a note here for Eddie Cahill to just always play James with like the craziest eyes you can, because
Yeah.
Eddie Cahill has really striking eyes, but they don't always come off this way. And I think he was making a real intentional choice in how he holds his face in almost every scene that he's in to just be a little unhinged.
Hmm.
Both in like the way he lets his mouth drop and his eyes, and just
His head's to the side.
he's
Yeah.
really, it's a choice he seems to be making, because it don't feel like this about him in every role that he plays. So he's yeah, it probably is something like that. But so when we get to the dinner scene, Barbara Hunter and Felicity and Noel are already there waiting for Ben, and Ben shows up late. And a little bit into the scene, not too far in, Ben points out that he walked Molly home and that they ran into James and it took forever for him to leave.
Yeah, I thought that was just kind of a reason he
It
was
felt like
late.
forever.
I think that was his
Yeah,
excuse for like, I'm late, you know. So this is why, because I was walking Molly home. It took forever, and
I wasn't
um,
sure if it also entailed like maybe James left right away, but that then he needed to calm down Molly, or they wanted to make sure he stayed away, or like it was a
I
little
didn't
hard to
read too
judge.
much more into that other than Ben was just excusing the fact that he was late.
Okay.
But it could be.
But this, I mean, hey, look, this dinner is as awkward as you want it to be, really. I
Oh, yeah.
mean, so Lucy's mom's like, have you seen Loser Pet Store, Ben? How great is that project my daughter's working on with Noel?
I
Um,
know. And Ben walks in. He's like, "Oh, Noel, didn't know he was coming."
yeah,
And then of course, Noel just keeps bringing up things that he should not bring up. So first he brings up rehab, and so like Barbara's like, "Wait a minute, Molly's in rehab?" And then Noel's like, "Well, I mean," and he starts talking about the gun again, and
yeah.
all this stuff, which and he just keeps sticking his foot in his mouth. I don't think he's doing it on purpose. I really
I
don't.
was
I
gonna
think he's
ask.
so uncomfortable.
Okay.
He's starting to, what's the word I'm looking
He's
for?
having like
Not
a polite
chatter.
meltdown. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's getting over talkative.
Yes.
And he's sharing too much. And the thing is that's unfair about this too is that some of this stuff I feel like could also be like when he's like, "How's rehab?" He's
That could
talking
sound like it
about
was Ben.
Molly, but it could sound like it was Ben, and
Yeah.
that's not fair. Like Ben's already got enough shade around him. They don't need to paint all this extra in with another brush. Like it's just I don't get the sense that Barbara took it that way because she says, "Oh, Molly," but
Well, no,
just some of this
Felicity, I
stuff.
think, jumps in and is like, "Oh, yeah, Molly's in rehab."
Yeah, it's just this weird, like, not all of this is Ben's thing. Like, uh,
No, it's
Ben's
not. But
issue. It's Ben trying to protect them from an issue that he maybe shouldn't even
yes.
be protecting them from. But I mean, it's not, he doesn't have all these layers of baggage. He only has a few layers of baggage,
He has slightly fewer layers of baggage than
Yeah.
perhaps he is being portrayed as having. But
Yeah.
I don't think Noel's doing it on purpose. I think things are just coming out of his mouth, and these are the things he's thinking about. Because Ben's late, and he was walking Molly home, so the first thing out of Noel's mouth is, how's that going? You
Yeah.
know,
Just trying to make
so
conversation, that Noel.
yeah,
And so then when the word gun gets brought up again, Barbara's like, "Oh, yes, the boy with the gun." But Ben's like, "There
hmm
was no gun.
no
There was
gun.
no gun."
He left. It's fine, no problem.
And then Barbara's just had enough. So she makes a beeline to the bathroom. Felicity
And
follows
again,
her.
this is the juxtaposition that I love, is like this restaurant and this bathroom, which is so gorgeous. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I've never seen a bathroom that looks like this. I mean, there are fresh flowers everywhere. I mean, it's like I would live in this bathroom.
Oh,
Um, it's gorgeous. And and yet they're having to have this conversation about drugs and guns, and it's all messy, all the mess.
yeah.
They're bringing it into the beautiful bathroom.
And, Felicity's putting some context around it. Like, that Ben's just trying to protect us. Barbara's like, "Ben's in college. He's an
Yeah,
undergrad. He
yeah.
can't protect you from stuff like this."
He's not a police officer.
Yeah,
That's what she
she's
says. Correct. And I'm like, fair. Now she's really freaking out. And I'm
she's
like,
worried and
fair.
she's making that very, very clear. But there's also an extra context of like, this whole Ben's. I wasn't sure at first if she was going in the direction of like Ben's lost, but then it looks like it steers, a hard right towards Ben. Ben's a bad boy. He's like Paul Conrad that I knew when I was your
Yeah.
age, or he's trouble.
Basically, he's trouble with a capital
Yeah.
T. Uh, she's like, he doesn't have a major, he gets in fights, he associates with drug users, and, you know, he's this kind of bad boy, and I know what that's like. And so she
And
brings up this guy named Paul Conrad, who clearly was trouble in her past.
but that she obviously had a thing for. And then,
Mhm.
Barbara is openly suggests that Felicity should date Noel.
In all fairness, Felicity did ask.
She
She was
did.
like, "Well, if you don't want me to date Ben, who do you want me to date?"
That was an
I,
error.
I
That
mean,
was
you
a
ask, you get the
Yeah.
answer.
But then she doesn't just give a simple answer. She's like, "Date Noel because he's in love with you." Like, and
Well,
he's
more
great
than
and
that.
he is awesome and he's the
Well,
parrot. Or no, he's the turtle and he's
he's
in
the
love
turtle.
with the parrot.
Yeah, she's like, he's focused, he's smart, he's adorable, he's in love with you.
Yeah.
I mean, he is every like parent's wet dream, right? But oh, if only Leon had met. I mean,
Yeah.
couldn't Felicity just look at her mom and say, Noel's married,
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like the
right?
conversation ender is Noel is currently married.
Married.
Um to a woman who lives in Germany and is out like it's just
And is out dating Beethoven.
yeah, it's just a
Um,
lot.
yeah, I
Instead,
don't understand her reaction here because so her mom says, yeah, the turtle's in love with the parrot and you're the parrot and he's the turtle. But Felicity doesn't actually communicate anything with her mother. She just gets frustrated. She doesn't
yeah.
actually say, well, here are the good things about Ben, and here's the fact that Noel's married, and
Hmm.
here's the fact that he stalked Tyra Banks.
Oh my goodness.
Like, I mean, there are a lot
Like,
of
did it
things
tell
to
you
be
about the when he
said.
stole this woman's email password and just showed up every like there is another side of what you could share about Noel, but yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. She just puts her foot down. She says, I'm going back to the table where I'm going to sit with my boyfriend Ben and my friend Noel is what I'm gonna do. See you there. Like
Very much.
yeah, it was just sort of a button they put on that scene there. And then we're going to see the aftermath of this at the loft.
Yeah.
Another awkward loft conversation with Ben and
Yeah.
Felicity. And
Ben is just still mad. I still feel like he's got this chip on his shoulder. And he's just mad at the world, at everything. He's just upset.
yeah, but
Not
he
to say that
is
he shouldn't
saying
be.
more in this scene than we saw in the last scene he had with Felicity, where he's like, I think your mom set me up.
Mm-hmm.
And Felicity
Yep.
is being defensive around, like, look, it's hard for her. Be compassionate. You know, there are all these factors in her life right now. He's like, yeah, but nonetheless, like she didn't have to set me up. You know, like
Yeah.
that was a
I
choice.
mean,
These two things coexisted at that table or on this trip in general.
and
Um,
he's calling her mom obnoxious
mhm.
and, you know, he's putting Felicity in a really tight spot because on the one hand, it's her mom. It's her first holiday alone. She understands she may be concerned about a few things. Um, and on the other hand, her mom has told her she doesn't like Ben and she wants her to date Noel. So, like, she's got to kind of understand where Ben's coming from because he's
Mhm.
feeling something.
And
And
he feels insecure about the fact that this whole idea of him not having plans
mhm.
is becoming a topic of conversation and something that may be in Felicity's head. And then Felicity is gonna say the
She's gonna snap
words.
a little. Yeah.
Yeah. She asks, are you frustrated because my mom made you admit you have no plans or because you have no plans? And
Yeah.
that is such a loaded question to ask.
And unfortunately, we are not going to get to see the answer.
No, but I
They're just
think
going to cut away.
like there's also an option three here, right? Is it because my mom made you admit it because you have none, or because I think you have no plans? You know, it's like there is,
Or because she's judging him.
yeah, which is where he's gonna go with it. We're gonna find out in the next scene, but we don't know in this immediate moment how that conversation was finished or what the answer was to that. But I think it is sort of a mic drop. Um, it's a big thing for Ben to chew on, that question that came out of Felicity's mouth. And
I mean, it's both the question and it's who asked it and how she asked it.
mhm.
So he's got a lot to.
He's got a lot to sift through on that. In the meantime, we're going to go back to the lady's apartment where we're going to see Molly and another scene where James calls her.
Yes.
She is still picking up the phone in the apartment, which she probably shouldn't be doing.
Probably not. No.
So that I think will tell you that she's still sort of drawn in by this. But she gets on the phone and he's basically warning her not to like stop the conversation.
Well, he starts with "I love you."
Mm-hmm.
And then she's like, "I can't do this. I can't see you. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to see you. I'm hanging up." And he says, "Yeah, I'm warning you, do not hang up." And she takes it for what it is. And she's like, "Don't threaten me."
Mm-hmm.
And she hangs up.
And she says goodbye. Her last words are to say goodbye. And is that the last scene like that we see between them? I think so, right?
I think so. Yeah.
So in theory, maybe we're meant to think that her "don't talk to me, don't want to see you, don't want to talk to you, goodbye" was actually her trying to be final about it. I don't
Eh,
know.
I mean, is there ever a final with these two?
Probably not. I mean, just in terms, or I mean, I don't know. I guess maybe eventually you get to that point with any relationship that gets into the space like this. But
I feel like this relationship ends with violence, cops, jail, something.
mhm,
Like this relationship doesn't just go away.
yeah,
Like she needs to change her name and like move.
yeah, yeah. But if sleeping with the enemy taught us nothing. Anyway,
Yes.
so Epstein Bar, that's where we're going now, where Sean is trying to butter up Meghan.
In a very interesting way,
He gives her the gift of a leather whip.
which she loves, but clearly it scares Sean that she loves it. Like she kind of flicks it at him and he like jumps back. So I'm
Yeah,
like, why would you give this to her? Like, if you know that you're going to be
it
on
will
the
be
receiving
used.
end of
Yeah,
this,
yeah,
why is this your present that you finally decide? Like, go with the non-breathable panties if you have to.
yeah, that might be the way to go. So Meghan, I guess she thinks maybe they're past the conversation they were having before where they basically broke up. She's now got this gift. Maybe she thinks of it as a peace offering. She's like, hey,
Yeah.
let's go to Radio City. You want to do that?
She's forgotten. I think she's just forgotten about the trees
Hmm.
and how mad she was. And
Yeah.
so she wants to do something Christmassy with him, like something corny. I mean, he's given her, the perfect present. And now she wants to go to Radio City with him. And
Yeah. He's like, sorry,
he's
can't
gonna
do it.
remind her.
Gotta deal with the trees. She's like, the what now?
Yeah. Didn't we have this guy? Did that
The
not go away?
didn't yeah, it's like, oh, so you're a thief is what you are. You're an idea stealer and you're still doing
Yeah.
the idea.
Well, and she's like, you are, I mean, you're gonna cut me in on them. And I love this line. She's like, you're gonna cut me in on them. I'm holding a whip.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
he's just like, nope, not happening. And then there's this weird thing where she calls him a cheapskate and she's like, you need to leave. I'm throwing you out of a restaurant. Oh, do you want me to leave? That means you'll have to pay the bill. Oh, I knew that would get you up. Like, do we know this about Sean? Is he a cheapskate? I've never seen that before.
Well, they had a whole summer together because they stayed at her parents' villa, right?
Yeah. But
Like
like,
he's
I'm wondering if we've seen this because I don't know, it bugs me a little bit because it is obviously like a Jewish stereotype,
Mhm.
and I'm not loving that as soon as he like is associated with becoming more, Jewish, like becoming more religious, that all of a sudden this is put on him. So I'm
Mhm.
just kind of wondering, did I miss it earlier? Or like has he always been like, or is this the first time we're
No, but
seeing it?
I think that she comes from money,
But
like a lot of
she's
money.
never said this to him before.
I don't think she's ever said it to him,
Yeah.
but I
So
think
I'm like,
that it
I'm
is
not loving
something
that.
that'll come up again later in terms
Yeah.
of I
Still.
think when they're thinking of their summer plans for the summer coming up, it's something that rears its head again where he's trying to come up with a place to do a cheap summer and she's like she has more expensive ideas.
Yeah.
So I think it's a thing in their relationship and I think it's part of how they're
I just
what
wish
their
they brought
actual
it up.
positions in life are.
Yeah, I just wish it had been brought up like maybe sooner. Then it was like an ongoing thing with him because he's always letting Ben like skip on the rent.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why would picking up a meal be? I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah,
maybe I'm
but
reading too much into it.
it's hard to say, right? It's hard to know what Sean's real financial position is because then on the other hand, he couldn't like sign, when Ben was trying to get a loan, Sean wasn't an option because his money is all, like tied up and, it's just this weird. And then they talk about the loft being rent controlled. And I don't know. It's hard to get a real
He's
sense of.
pretty far out on these trees, and Meghan certainly isn't going to help.
Yeah. Yeah. No, she's not. She's going to call the fire department, give them a heads up
Mm-hmm.
that there's a
Not
fire
cool.
hazard to be dealt with. So we're going to head from here to the ladies' apartment where Felicity and Noel are working on Loser Pet Store.
Very well. They're working really nicely together.
Yeah, and Felicity is, I think, really sorting through all the information she's gotten since her mom's been in town. She's like, I mean, mom was okay with Ben at the restaurant, right? And Noel's like, no, so
Mm-mm.
awkward.
Yeah, it was really uncomfortable. And she's like, but she lightened up, right? He's like, nope, not at
Didn't know if
all.
that never happened.
I started talking because I was so uncomfortable. I think I talked too much. And Felicity's like, yep, you did.
Yeah. I mean, so then Noel's going to cap this off with a very meaningful line for Felicity now that she's got this idea planted in her head that Noel is actually the turtle in Loser Pet Store. Noel says, does the turtle look okay? I mean, he's such a loser.
Hmm.
And Felicity's like, no, he's not. But had this question come up 2 days before that, she would not have the context
Yeah.
of Noel basically calling himself a loser.
She'd
Uh,
probably be like, yeah, it's Loser Pet Store. They're all losers. That was
yeah,
the point of Loser Pet Store. But she does say here that her mom absolutely loves Noel.
yeah,
And Noel's just like, yeah, no kidding. Like, moms love me. That's who I
yeah.
am.
So I think that's, we're just getting a little bit more layers to that conversation. Now we're going to head to a Tracy and Elena scene with Pastor Kathy, who has a Pastor Kathy is in sign on her desk.
And she is. She's got some stuff to say. And Elena does not want to hear it.
Well, I do think that so Pastor Cat, this is really about the types of things Tracy and Pastor Kathy are probably talking about, which is, taking responsibility for your sins, which Tracy considers the fact that they had sex a sin. Elena does not. So it's a weird like dynamic in this conversation because on the one hand, Elena can be in this conversation just trying to gather and absorb information about Tracy's viewpoint, his religion, like this is the world that Tracy's in. But what I get in this scene is that the points of view are very much at odds, and there's not really an agree to disagree happening here.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree with that. But I think what struck me is Pastor Kathy is talking and she says a bunch of stuff. And then Elena is talking and she says, kind of the opposite, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Pastor Kathy is talking and saying, well, you know, you have to figure out like what you want separately. Like, and what do you want separately? What do you want together? You know who isn't talking during this scene?
Tracy. I mean,
Tracy.
the thing is, every time Pastor Kathy opens her mouth, Tracy's resonating and nodding and like grinning,
And Elena isn't seeing that.
Yeah.
She's not
Elena's saying,
focused on
I don't
Tracy.
feel like I sinned in this situation. Pastor Kathy's saying, premarital sex is lust, not love. Elena's like, you can't tell me how I feel. And I think it was pertinent that Pastor Kathy used the term crossroads in the relationship because it's also the title of the program that Tracy was accepted into. I think the fact that Tracy is nodding his head vigorously to everything Pastor Kathy is saying, and that honestly, this is not Elena's viewpoint. She doesn't share this viewpoint, and they're not going to come out of this with Elena being changed to that point of view. So I think that's just information that Tracy needs to take in.
And I think it is information that he takes in. But I don't think that Elena does the same for Tracy. Like, I feel like Tracy is sitting there and he is listening to Pastor Kathy and he is listening to Elena and he is taking in this information and he is going to process it and analyze it in his own way. And Elena is sitting there sort of trying to make a point. She's like, here's how I feel, like the Bible won't tell me what's in my, like she's having a conversation with the pastor that it doesn't even really involve Tracy. She's not looking at him at all.
I think that on the one hand, I agree that I think Tracy is listening. Elena, I don't think is listening as much to Tracy's viewpoints or like this world that he's in. But at the end of the day, even if she were, I see them both as not moving in their positions. I don't think either of them, no matter how much listening they're doing, I think that these are really polarized positions of how they want to live their lives. And I don't see with any amount of listening, either of them changing their point of view on this. So it's and I put that just as much onto Tracy as I do onto Elena, because I think they're just beliefs that they both hold. And so it's tricky, right? Because I think in a conversation like this, you hope that something like that will be brought to light. Where it's like, I mean, how do you make these two viewpoints work together? Really, if we both have them and they're both not moving, what do you do?
There are atheists and religious people who have relationships. There are people of different faiths who have relationships. I don't think there's, 100% like irreconcilable differences here. I think the main issue is that Elena's not listening. Like she has, it's almost like it's not that she's sort of trying not to hear him. It's almost like a blind spot for her. It's like she doesn't even know that she's not listening. She's just sort of moving forward. I don't see her asking any questions, at least not ones where she's not being a little manipulative, like, do you hate me now? Like, do you, regret this? It's just, I don't know. Like, I feel like Tracy takes this all in and reads the situation correctly and brings it up to Elena, who is then floored by the fact that, like, hey, reality.
Yeah. I mean, I think at the end of the day, even if Elena were listening, it seems to me that for her, a healthy relationship equals a sexually active one. And in ways that Tracy's not comfortable to go to the places that she wants to, that she hasn't been satisfied to stop at the points where Tracy wants to stop. So
neither is he.
Yeah. So I think, like, I do think that I imagine in the types of relationships you talked about that you've seen work or that can work, some amount of compromise has to happen somewhere. Like, but I'm not sure that they're setting up for me, like, where that compromise would happen, because they're both very polarized on this.
The compromise is they get married, right?
Yeah.
And the question is, like, what type of relationship and where does Elena need to be to get married? And can she wait, long enough to have a sexual relationship for that to happen? And on Tracy's side, does Elena have the things in a person that he wants to marry, and what does he need to be ready? And you know, is Elena going to, be able to wait and be okay with the relationship that they have until that time?
And then if they did wait, and I mean, I guess now we've taken this question off the table. If they did wait and then she found out that they're actually really not sexually compatible, then you're married. So it's like she's now taken that off the table. She knows that they had a good experience, but they just violated his boundaries to get there. So it's just very like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's all so murky. But all right, well, let's go into another kind of weird scene that we kind of yada yada over a little bit here. But I'm going to throw my note from an optimist into it. So we're at the loft. Ben and Richard are moving lots of trees. Sean shows up, and then who else shows up? Fire Marshal Howard.
Yay. I mean, look, I shouldn't say yay because obviously, but like, I don't know, there's something jolly about Fire Marshal Howard.
I'm going to say, here's my note from an optimist. Fire Marshal Howard is downright decent as a human being. Okay. He shows up in a loft that if you put a capacity for humans in it, it would be far less than the number of trees, flammable objects that are in this building, all of which are not currently getting sufficient water. So they're drying out inside this building and becoming even more of a fire hazard. And he shows up, doesn't instantly find them. He's just having a chat. He's like, you're going to remove these trees, right? And then Sean tries to offer him a bribe.
Yeah.
And instead of being like, that's illegal, now you're going to get an even bigger fine. He's just like, it's a slap on the wrist, keep moving on. What I enjoy is that in the background, Ben's like laughing so hard when Sean tries to bribe Fire Marshal Howard. But at the end of the day, Fire Marshal Howard, thank you for having some holiday spirit. Mm-hmm. Thank you for not gouging Sean, like price gouging him with fines, which he really deserved to get.
Yes.
I think you, sir, offered a great act of kindness, maybe not one of great safety, but what a lesson for us all in compassion we got from Fire Marshal Howard.
Yeah, I'm also a fan of the Fire Marshal Howard and all of his. I don't know. I felt like he was just sort of, I don't know, as jolly as we were going to get for this episode.
Yeah.
And he's going to move along the plot because they've got to get the trees to the lot, and it's a huge investment for Sean. And Sean is not going to pass the love along to Ben. He's in fact going to extort him.
Yeah.
Say, I let you be late on rent all the time. And, Ben is like, these trees are ruining my life.
He ultimately agrees to do it, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The trees are a real mess for Ben here, but I think Ben's also displacing a little bit of his frustration onto the trees as well. Like the trees are making things difficult, but I think the real problems here are Felicity's lack of confidence in him, Felicity's mom's his own lack of confidence in himself, Noel sidling in here. Like I think James might be a little bit of an issue.
Little bit. I mean, he did get sap on his shirt and they ruined his favorite chair. So, I mean, it's also a little bit the trees.
Yeah. Well, Felicity is going to arrive. She's going to see this whole mess of trees and Ben having to work amongst the trees. And she's like, but can't you come to the party?
Yeah.
I want you there. Ben's like, yeah, I'm not interested in having a conversation about nothing when there's something here. Because he's still been sort of chewing on this point about the no plans thing that Felicity said. He's like, that really sounded like a judgment coming from you.
And he says, I know you. Like, this bothers you. Like, you can say that you're not bothered, but you you're disappointed, when it came out in front of your mother. And Felicity's going to try to defend herself and be like, no, I was just uncomfortable for you. But
And Ben
this,
saying, yeah, but there's a reason you felt uncomfortable, right? Like you can admit that I was put on the spot, that your mom put me on the spot in that situation.
yeah,
Like
he's like,
that's
don't
okay to
defend. Yeah.
say.
He's like, you don't
Um,
have to defend her. This is another one where I think, even though he does say stuff, there's just so much
so much
subtext.
more. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was I was intrigued by the way he sort of wraps this up, where he
Yeah.
says, I couldn't tell where this was coming from, where he said, I mean, maybe you should spend Christmas with your mom. Maybe she needs you. Maybe that's where you should be. He wasn't saying it in a tone. What did you feel like he was saying?
I feel like he he had two different tones. He starts out by saying, maybe you should spend Christmas with your mom. And then the maybe she needs you part was softened.
Yeah,
And
I
it
noticed that too.
was it was definitely frustration and like some anger, like he's still just mad and kind of snappy. I feel like the maybe she needs you part was him kind of taking a breath
Mm-hmm.
and stabilizing his own tone, but I don't think it was genuine. I don't think he's genuinely saying this. I think
Okay.
he's mad and he's kind of pushing her away. It's almost like a test. Like, are you gonna go with her?
See,
Like,
that's the thing. I was trying to decide, does it feel like he's baiting her? Does it feel like he's challenging her? And I came away thinking he wasn't. And it might have been because of the way he softened when he said, maybe she needs you. But I was trying to decide, if it doesn't land in that place, where does it land for me? And I think that I think maybe he's a little tired. I think he like of the I think the idea of his sort of like inadequacy is a little exhausting in this moment.
yeah,
Um,
I could
that
see
he
that.
doesn't maybe want to think about it that much, or that, I mean, is it compassion for her mom? I don't know that it's that for me, but I think
Mm.
it's like, it doesn't feel like a challenge to me.
I
But I think there's like a disappointment there, or a tiredness about it that resonated.
I could see disappointment. I could see tired, but I what it what it comes down to for me at the end is, if she spends Christmas with her mom,
Mhm.
he is not going to be happy. And while he is saying maybe you should do this, that is not genuine. He
Mhm.
actually does want to be with her over the holidays.
Yeah.
And like, whether it's a knowing test or whether it's a, I just don't want to deal with this in this moment, at the end of the day, if she doesn't spend the holidays with him, it's going to really bug him.
But I do think that it's all context, right? Because I think if it weren't the issue of this like feeling of inadequacy, that and this feeling of her judgment, I think that she's made a really good case for why her mom does need to be with her, why she
Hmm.
needs to be with her mom. And I think there's a world where Ben could be okay with that. Like
Yeah.
they've had this relationship in the past where it's like, you need to go off and do this thing, you go off and do this thing. And they'll, like, we've seen them make those choices. And it could be like that here, but because built into this conversation is this judgment of Ben, it can't get to that place unless that part's resolved.
Yeah. I mean, as I said, he's got this huge chip on his shoulder that's like growing. I think part of it is the James stuff. I think part of it is now, the inadequacy, not just from, being able to protect them, but also now on the whole, what is my life going to be
Mm-hmm.
part. And it's just like all of Ben's being, right, is being judged. And he
Mm-hmm.
can't really see, because this chip is so big, he can't really, I don't know, like, see eye to eye with Felicity. It's getting in the way.
But when you say
Um,
chip on the shoulder, I think I have sort of like a connotation for that expression that's sort of like petulant. And I don't see him being that way here. I see him being, I actually feel like he's trying to be as mature as he knows how to be. Um, I think that there are a lot of different ways that he could be taking this conversation. We saw the way that he took this exact scenario when Felicity rewrote his paper. And we're seeing a different behavior from him than that. And I think there's a growth there because in that same thing, the issue was still that he felt she was saying he was stupid. And frankly, I don't know how else you interpret her actions there, in a way. So this is sort of coming from that same place of like, she doesn't think I'm good enough. Like, but he's not going freshman year Ben on her, where he's like shutting her out and being snarky and like giving her the silent treatment when he's not being snarky. He's doing something with a little more growth. And he's saying fewer things that he can't take back, and he is saying words that look like it's coming from her point of view. But I think under it, there is like, he's hurt.
yeah.
And I think he's saying a greater percentage of what he's feeling and he's trying to communicate it, but it's not 100%. I don't know. I do see it as progress when compared up against that incident, but it's not like he's not going to win awards for communication, but I don't know. I feel like he's trying to do the best he can, and he's not saying stuff that he won't be able to walk back.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like from the first moment we see him in this episode, he's already upset.
Mm-hmm.
And he's upset because of how he's had to deal with James,
Yeah.
right? And it comes out in what he's saying, which is if there hadn't been a gun there, like things would have gone down differently.
Yeah.
And it's like it just builds on that. And I do agree he is definitely communicating more. But this go spend Christmas with your mom, maybe she needs you, I think is pretty much shutting her off, like, let's just go our separate ways, for a while. And I mean, I see that as kind of reverting, he has
Okay.
been trying to communicate. It's just it's hard. And
Yeah.
with so much else going on,
Yeah, he's got a
it's
lot.
hard. And so I think it's good that this is taken out of their hands,
Mm-hmm.
right? But yeah, I do think a lot of the
Well,
stuff he's doing just comes from a place of frustration and anger and being kind of snappy.
yeah.
It's not
But
exactly
it's not
snarky.
exactly taken out of their hands. He takes an action that then led to it being taken out of their hands. And I think that's worth noting.
That's true.
Because we're going to get to I think a pretty interesting scene.
I mean, he didn't specifically ask
No,
that
but
he
he
be able
did
to spend the holidays.
let's put a pin in that because we're going to get to that two
Yeah.
scenes from now. So we'll just briefly go back to the girls' apartment where Elaine is there. Tracy comes to the door.
Elena's laying down in an amazing red leather skirt. It is so fantastic.
Yeah.
And she's just going to have
Tracy,
to roll her way out. She's going to roll her way off the bed to go answer the door and see Tracy.
yeah. I think to sort of sum this up, Tracy has been racking his brain and his heart and his soul and everything to figure out what the solution is for the conflict that he's been feeling in this relationship. And he comes to the door and he's like, you were the first thing that ever made me doubt my beliefs. But the thing is, we both know that you're not okay with my belief system.
Yep.
And I don't know what the options are for me here. It's like I've been in my head so much thinking about this that I think I just have to get out of my head.
Mm-hmm.
Going to crossroads. I'm going to do it. And I think it really squarely places this decision. It's not just about like, oh, it's a great spiritual opportunity. It's a great, it's a great opportunity for my career. It's like, I also I've had enough of just having this rattle around in my brain with no changes. Something needs to shift. And maybe that thing is me doing this.
Yeah, but I do think it's important to look at the way that he says it.
Mm-hmm.
He says, I've been looking inside and I haven't found the answers. So I'm looking in the wrong place,
Mm-hmm.
which, and then his result is, so I'm going to do crossroads. And to me, it sounds like it's coming from a very spiritual place still.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, yeah, he's saying, I need to get out of my head, but it's like he's looking to this other experience that he's being guided towards to continue to guide him. So like it seems to me like Tracy is, as you said, like not really moving on this.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's like he's struggling. He says he's struggling, he's analyzing, he's trying to figure it out, and he's just like, I need some other guidance. I need to look somewhere else for the answers because I don't have them in me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there's that decision, right? And that's where they are. There's going to be a little distance there for them. And let's head to Dean and DeLuca,
where the saddest version of Three Wise Men is playing.
Okay.
The saddest, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like softest version of this song. Oh my God.
Yeah. So we're going to right away, this scene strikes you because it's like Ben and Felicity's mom. This is an interesting pairing. And, you can see that Ben asked Felicity's mom to meet him there. And he like sits down with her one-on-one and gets her a drink. And he dives into one of the longer speeches we're ever going to see. I mean, he doesn't give a lot of speeches in the show, but I thought this was a really interesting scene where first of all, the way he sort of gets her attention in the beginning, I think is interesting. And then the way that he softens it all. And it didn't feel like he was, I don't know. He says, I think you're worried about me and Felicity. He's like, I'm calling a spade a spade. That's why we're sitting at this table. But then
honest.
He really, I think, catches her off guard when he says, it bothered me because I want to think that people are taking a really good look at me before they make up their minds about who I am. And you can see, like, Felicity's mom kind of cocks her head a little. Barbara's like, okay, where are we going with this? And you can say, but then I look at it from your perspective, and he just rattles off some of the things that could be a concern for her. And this is actually a very good sales pitch, what he's doing here, because all of this is right. He's like, this is a list of the things that you could be saying about me. And, it's true. And I get why you'd be interested to see Felicity with somebody like Noel and somebody who's more stable. And then so he gets her attention. Then it goes a little weird. Then it's like a little bit, this is definitely like 20-year-old Ben trying to figure out how to communicate what he wants to say. I think his opening was very powerful and his closing was very powerful. And I think that the middle part gets strange. He is like,
I agree.
Hey, I had a teacher who always said, like, people who don't know what they're doing in their 20s end up being really interesting people. So that's cool, huh? That part wasn't necessary, Ben.
He was like, so I'll be really interesting. And I was like, wait a minute. I knew what I wanted to do, like, when I was in high school.
Well, I guess know what is, if I sit here and I really think about that, okay, let me put myself in Barbara's shoes. That actually does work because I'm revising my whole earlier statement on this.
It's happening. It's happening in real
Okay,
time,
it's happening in
everyone.
real time, guys. You're listening to it. Barbara got married, pregnant to a guy who that probably like maybe had a little bit more time happened, or maybe if she weren't pregnant, maybe that's not the direction she would have gone. So did she know who she was in her 20s? I don't think she's figured it out until right now, this very moment, now that she's divorced. So maybe does that work? Does that work on that level? So where she's like, sometimes you don't know what you're up to, but you get really interesting later. Does that speak to her in a new way because she's rediscovering or discovering for the first time who she is in her,
I don't think that's where her head is at this moment, because he's just given her a list of reasons she should be wary. And so then to top it off, he then has this weird quote and he's like, I'm going to be interesting. And it's like, well, that's nice. But like what she was looking for was stable.
Yeah. I do like that Eve Gordon acting choice here when Ben says, chances are I'll be a pretty interesting person. Eve Gordon does I called it in my notes. I said Barbara equals I smile.
Smize. She took the Tyra Banks smize.
Yeah, she went with the smize. I'm telling you, everybody, go back, watch the scene, and tell me that was not an eye smile from Barbara. Okay.
Also known as a smize.
Also known as a smize.
A la Tyra Banks.
Now, Ben wraps it with what he needed to wrap it with, which is, look, I don't know why, but Felicity cares about me, okay? And I sometimes can, like, it inspires me to be what she sees in me.
Yeah.
And that made me think about the christening, the first episode from this season, where there's a comment about rose-colored glasses. And Sean's like, well, I've got news for you. That's how Felicity sees you. And it brings me back to that moment where Ben's like, whatever glasses she's looking at me through, I want to be that person, really. It just brought me straight back to that. So he's saying, he closed it by saying, she means pretty much the world to me. And I think coming from Ben after all of this, that lands a lot more effectively than Felicity being like, here's why Ben's right for me. Point one, I love him. And that's all my points. Like that was a scary point for her to bring up because Barbara's like, Paul Conrad. Here, it's Paul Conrad saying that in the most genuine possible way. And like, I don't know. I think it works.
Yeah, I mean, similar to how Noel was speaking about Felicity when he was charming her, Ben is now saying, Felicity cares about me. And what it boils down to is he's saying, she makes me want to be a better man.
Yeah.
Right? She makes me better. And she, and I love her. And, it's not only is it like, yes, he is complimenting Felicity, but he's also saying, like, I'm going to put in the work. And I think that that's part of what gets through. That's part that isn't Paul Conrad. He's not the fun, motorcycle, whatever bad boy. He's the guy who is in a coffee shop with the worst version of Three Wise Men playing ever, saying, I'm willing to put in the work to be the guy your daughter can love.
And the fact that he is able to list for Barbara all of the very real reasons why she is concerned. I think, coming out of, look, I don't know. I mean, there's, I'm sure a difference between AA and Al-Anon in terms of like, admitting you have a problem. But I think even to go to Al-Anon, you have to admit that you have a problematic situation that's happening. And it seems like in that environment, you have to come up with these very honest, real assessments of what you're dealing with. And the fact that Ben is so not easily, but he's able to articulate the very real concerns Barbara has, and he knows what is on the table for him to work on. And that's part of it. He can recognize it and he wants to work on it because he wants to be the guy that Felicity sees. And I guess that would give you hope that he's headed in the right direction, or could be.
And I mean, hopefully it also gives Barbara some more trust in her own daughter.
Mm-hmm.
I would hope that also is part of the outcome.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think this is similar to when Ben goes to the professor and,
Mm-hmm.
asks for Felicity to have another chance on her final.
Yeah.
He has these moments where he goes very far out on a limb
Mm-hmm.
and just really puts everything out there for Felicity.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, these moments mean so much more to me than, the time, go back in time thing that he
Mm-hmm.
did. Like,
Mm-hmm.
these are the moments for me where it's
Yeah.
like, this is a good man.
Yeah. He's in there, right? Like you can, all of these trappings of why he's in trouble, like they're true, but this guy's in there, like
He's
he's
in there
this
somewhere.
guy.
Yeah, if he could just like be more this guy and less the guy who like puts people in the hospital,
Yeah.
I'd be a lot happier
Yeah.
with him.
Yeah. Well, this was enough for Felicity's mom, right? So Barbara is going to find Felicity at her apartment. Barbara has already made alternative plans for the holiday. She's taken Felicity all the way off the hook. Felicity was like, that's great, but we're in a fight. So, oh well. So much for that. Barbara's like,
I'm gonna be alone.
well, no, but you aren't really in a fight based on the conversation I just had. Like, she figures they'll work it out. It'll be okay. And she goes a step further and she's like, I might have been, it wasn't fair for me to equate Ben to Paul Conrad. I think there's a difference there.
Yeah, and Felicity agrees. She doesn't know who Paul Conrad is, but she's kind of sussed out that this guy's hurt her mom in some kind of way, and he's not a good guy.
Yeah.
And she thinks Ben is a good guy.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah,
I think that their little exchange here is actually very interesting because Barbara makes a point about, I shouldn't have given him my heart. And Felicity is like, it's really not your fault. Like you gave your heart to somebody, he should have taken better care of it. And Barbara's saying, I probably should have been more thoughtful about not giving it to him in the first place. But, in another world, like, is that same message, does that apply to Felicity's dad too? It's just a very mature sort of, I'm going to take a step back and be unbiased about this sort of the thing that Felicity said to her mom, which is the type of thing she might have said to a friend. But there is this kind of like loaded other sort of like interpretation of, Felicity's mom is sort of still dealing with this divorce from another serious relationship she's had that, maybe did somebody take perfect care of her heart or who she was as a person? I don't know. Maybe Barbara needs to hear the thing Felicity said. I just thought it was a very generous moment between the two of them. It was a really nice conversation.
And I like how her mom kind of ends this with kind of reminiscing, right? She's like, you came here just a few years ago and you were so scared by everything, which is how I think her mom feels now. I think
Yeah.
her mom is scared.
Yeah.
And she's actually looking at her daughter in this
Like role
probably
model way.
proud,
Yeah.
like probably proud, but also it's not exactly like inspirational, but you know, maybe aspirational.
I guess, yeah, that's a good word.
She's like, you've really grown up, and you're not scared. And I think she sees Ben as part of that at
Mm-hmm.
this point.
Yeah. But I do think you're right. I think a lot of this is Barbara taking these lessons for herself.
Mm-hmm.
She's in a scary spot in her own world where she has to completely reinvent herself, and her daughter has set a path for doing exactly that.
Yep.
So, maybe in Barbara's own life, she's like looking at how she saw Felicity do it. Maybe she's like, I liked some of what she did, and there's some other stuff I want to change, like maybe I wouldn't do it quite this way, but she's got this thing to look to that Felicity didn't have.
Yeah. I mean, it is something that's nice about having another generation above you and below you. It's like you get to see how other people did things. Not
Yeah.
everybody kind of does everything the same way. And it's like she can see this part modeled by her daughter and her daughter can learn from her, that's a good, solid place to like build an adult mother-daughter relationship on.
Yeah. Loved it. Love Barbara in this episode. Love it. Love Eve Gordon always, including in this episode. This is just a very rich relationship. And the thing is, like, we don't actually know that much about what's happening for Barbara outside of this, but you feel like there is a lot of texture there.
I mean, she's got friends to go to Santa Fe with, so she's got something going on.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Barbara's life is kind of lived in, even though we barely hear a thing about it. So I don't know. I don't know if that's all the writing or if that's Eve Gordon choices along the way or if it's both but it's just cool. That's what I have to say.
Nice.
Now we're going to head to the tree lot.
Yeah, Richard is trying to sell some trees.
Mm-hmm.
And
boy, are they having trouble.
They're having some trouble. Yeah, nobody seems to want to pay $50 for a tree.
Yeah.
And Felicity's going to come up because she's looking for Ben. And Sean's like, all right, thanks for letting me have Ben. This is going terribly. And
yeah. Felicity, as she's leaving, she's going to see this cool interaction that Sean has where this little kid comes up because he's found the perfect tree and he tries to bring his dad over to buy the tree and the dad doesn't have the money for that tree. And Sean gives it away.
See, he's not a cheapskate.
He's not. I loved this moment from Greg Grunberg.
Yeah.
The way he delivers this was very like on both levels where he's like, take the tree. He's being his like Sean Blumberg self. But then you can see that moment when he just like looks the father dead in the eye. He's like, no, really take the tree. Like it's this like, I'm not being the fun jovial guy. I'm being the guy who knows that your kid really wants this tree.
Yeah.
And that this isn't a gimmick. This isn't a scam. Like just take the tree. I loved the delivery of it because I think the way he delivered it, the kid walks away from that not hearing the part where he was like, I see you, Oscar's dad, but Oscar's dad needed that moment to be like, is this real?
Yeah.
Like, can I do this without shame? Yeah. Like for sure, because it's a gift for Oscar.
And also look at how many trees are not selling.
Exactly.
So like really you're taking them off our hands. I like this because it's a Christmas episode and this should be what Christmas episodes are about. And every moment that was lovely was ruined for me because I knew somebody was going to get shot.
Who got shot? You're not going to know for 4 months. Yeah. Or a week for us or so. Yeah. Well, we're going to head to that last, the final act of this episode where we're going to get to the girls' apartment. They're having the party. The party is starting. People are arriving. Felicity finds Meghan. She's like, maybe go see Sean at the lot.
Yeah. could use some help.
Yeah.
Oh, Meghan.
You had made a point about her outfit here, and I just wanted to make a point.
Yes.
That remember when I said I had a haircut was I think
Yes.
our senior year. One of the pictures, one of the screenshots that I showed was Felicity from this party. Her hair at
Was
exactly this length.
gorgeous. I mean, absolutely everything about her in this, from the outfit to the makeup to the hair to everything, is just 100% gorgeous.
Yeah, she was.
And you
She
know
was
who
looking
can't?
good.
Yeah, you know who can't get enough of looking at it?
No.
Yeah.
I think with different music through a different lens, cut differently, this is that moment in like When Harry Met Sally or some other rom-com when like the love interest sees the other one from across the room, like,
Yeah,
except this is
yeah.
unfortunately very one-sided.
There's like, if it had hopeful music, there's one thing. If it has sad music, it means another thing.
This is the one where Noel is half of the pair that's in love, but there is no one.
I mean, he throughout this episode, he gives her some pretty longing looks.
Yeah. It's a lot.
It is very heavy-handed.
Yeah, they got there somehow.
Especially once they've layered in all of Barbara's like, you should be with Noel.
Yeah. I don't know exactly how they got here pretty quickly, right? Because I feel like it wasn't that long ago that Noel was chasing after Jane, but at the same time, they were giving us subtle hints, and then all of a sudden they were just like, "Lamb." Like,
I don't know.
Noel loves Felicity.
I feel like there was Ruby, right? And once Ruby left the scene, I mean, really left, we started getting Noel slipping back into like looking at Felicity.
Like,
And
okay.
yes, there's Doritos Chick, and yes, there's Leon stuff. But like, even at, I don't know, I feel like the wedding and like, I don't know, I feel like these looks have been happening on and off. Even when he was obsessing about Jane, but here they're just hitting us over the head with it.
Yeah, they're like, there's no way we're going to let you get away from an episode of this show without knowing how much Noel is in love with Felicity right now. Yeah. So there's that. We're going to get back to them in a moment, but first we're going to see Tracy and Elena.
Cocky Tracy's back. He's just all, smiley, and I mean he's heading out, so he wants to have a good night. And he wants to, just say, "Damn, Elena, you look good."
Yeah.
Elena's gonna play up into it. I mean, she does. It's a beautiful dress.
Yeah.
And they're gonna have fun, They're gonna dance. It's gonna be good. He's gonna
howl at her and yap like a dog.
I mean,
meanwhile,
just
behind him,
her.
Molly's sitting alone.
She looks so sad.
It was the weirdest juxtaposition, but felt very appropriate for what's actually going on.
Correct.
Juxtaposition is my word of the episode, I think.
I agree.
Yeah, she's so sad.
She looks so sad.
Yeah, that was depressing. And then we're going to go back to the tree lot, which no longer has the same depressing energy that it did in the last scene, because now Richard and Sean are just giving trees away, and everybody's coming to take them.
You get a tree, and you get a tree. And so, since there are no profits to share, Meghan clearly can forgive him.
Yeah, there is no conflict here anymore. Meghan's going to give him a kiss. She's proud of him. She's going to invite him to the party, which they can do now because they don't have trees to sell.
Correct.
So, well, all's well that ends well.
But is it?
Well, no. So, Tracy and Elena, we're going to go back to the party.
Yeah.
They're going to miss each other.
They are.
Do a little slow dance. They're going to miss each other. Okay. We're going to get another sad conversation. Felicity and Noel. This is like...
Noel's going to try. He's going to be like, it's good to be single. And Felicity's just going to like see right through it.
Like, are you the turtle?
Yeah. Noel's the turtle. Noel says he's the turtle. And then he becomes a big old liar.
And the parrot, of course, who is it, Fish?
It's Ruby. and her baby.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, I said they were coming back. This is sort of them coming back.
Hmm.
She's a parrot
Yeah.
here, but she's not
She's really
because
not, though.
she's not.
Felicity, I don't know how much Felicity is really buying that. But
Oh, I think she
Felicity's,
is. I think she's buying it because it becomes super awkward. And it's like, I don't know, this made me feel very weird because it felt like Felicity wanted to be the parrot. And when Noel said Ruby, she was like, oh
well, and
yeah,
I think her
of
mom primed her to
course.
think she is the parrot. So I think
Yeah,
I just
absolutely.
I don't know if she buys this, but I maybe it
Uh,
doesn't matter either way. I mean, I love her very Carrie Russell-esque acting choice here, where she's like, well, it's Carrie Russell. It's not her esque. This is Carrie Russell. Carrie Russell is like, oh, of course, yeah, right. Ruby,
yeah,
Ruby's the yeah, of course, Ruby's the
yeah.
Carrie Russell has this way of doing it that I just loved. Like, yes, naturally, let's get out of this conversation straight away. Hey, I'm
It's
gonna
so
need a drink.
awkward. Yeah.
And she goes off to get a drink to get out of this conversation. And Noel
And
just
Noel,
stares.
oh my goodness, he gives her all the looks. All the looks that he has go right after
It was
her.
Blue Steel and Magnum.
And they continue as because Ben has made it. He's made it in. And he's,
Mhm.
you know,
And then Noel gives Latigra.
oh my goodness. It's amazing
Yeah.
how
For those of you
versatile.
who haven't seen Zoolander, that was every look.
Yes. Then they're all the same.
They're all exactly the same.
But yeah, I mean, Felicity is just going to like give Ben the biggest hug, and Noel is going to like die inside just like a little
Yeah.
bit more.
Yeah, he's obliterated.
Yeah.
Um
So he's going to go to the other person in the room who is utterly and completely obliterated.
mhm.
Molly.
Molly. Yeah.
The saddest pair in the
Yeah.
history of Felicity.
But they're gonna dance and that'll be cool.
Now I need to know, did, what music did you have here?
So the thing is, the music, I don't know what the music was, but I know what the music was, is if that
Yeah,
makes sense. Like
yeah. Just
I
tell me
could
what it
not
was
name
like.
for this, but it got much darker. I think it started with like a and then it went like almost techno. There was more of a beat than anything else. And it was like and it was, I don't know. That's my description of music that I have no idea what the name is.
It definitely sounded like 20s drums.
It
But
it
no,
wasn't that.
what you just said.
It felt a little bit more. I almost would
I
have put
think
it
we
in like
had
a
the same.
rave.
Yeah, I think we had the same
Um,
song. I put down that it was a club song and it was techno.
yeah.
It was a very odd choice for a like home party to have a like a techno club beat.
Well, I think the point of it, or at least the point of how it started for me, was that it immediately makes the mood darker.
Yeah, but you can
Because,
do that with a lot of things. You don't need a
yeah,
club techno beat in somebody's apartment. It
yeah.
was such a weird choice that
I
it
think I was
really kind
okay
of
with
took me
it.
out of it.
It was, I was okay with it because I think it was meant to be sort of surreal. Like, what they think is happening at the party versus what's actually happening, where the music is James and the visuals is everybody else. Like
I
this
feel
moment
like
the
they could
music
have
switches.
gotten to this with maybe some like darker rock or even, I mean, I probably wouldn't go as far as punk, but like, I don't know. I thought this was very odd, but
I think the lack of words was useful.
yes. And they are all dancing. It's another like
Yeah.
everybody has to dance
Yeah, so they're
moment.
all dancing because they're having, even Molly and Noel are dancing and
Hmm.
they're laughing and they're being happy and they're getting their groove on, and Ben and Felicity are dance. Everybody's in the party mode now. But you're hearing this really like off
Weird,
music
ominous.
happening. And
Yeah.
then what we're gonna see, you're gonna see Sean, Richard, and Meghan come in from the tree lot. Sean and Richard are carrying a tree. James, as the tree clears the door, we see James coming in after them. And when they show us the characters dancing, Fish, did you notice that when they panned around to all the couples or groups
please
dancing?
tell me you noticed the same thing I did, because I'm going to give an award.
Richard dancing with the tree.
Yes, with the tree. Oh
I've
my
never
God.
seen it before until this time.
Was going to say that because I have award written down, Richard dances with a tree. I mean, he is getting down.
He's getting down with a tree.
With this tree. It is
and it actually makes sense when you see it happening.
It goes with the beat. It fully goes with what's happening. He's in a techno rave with this tree, and they are just killing it.
Best dancers at the party, Richard and Tree.
Hands down.
Yeah.
And this award is like the, this second and a half is worth you fast forwarding all the way through the episode to just watch. Like, even if you don't want to watch the episode again.
Hey, but watch it because of Eva Gordon.
I mean, of course.
Watch it because of a lot of things, I think, right? But
if you're not going to watch it, it's totally worth just finding this 1.5 seconds of Richard just getting down with the tree.
How I have watched this show so many times and never saw this moment.
I feel
cheated by myself.
I mean, yeah, because it was the first thing that, I saw it come on and I was like, this is the best thing I've ever seen.
I wish I could be you seeing it from the first time.
But this is the first time you saw it.
but from the first time.
Oh, well, technically second.
Because anytime you see it after this, you'll notice that.
Yes.
But I watched it so many times without that joy. I
don't know how.
Yeah.
I mean, it is only like, it's a very short. It's a short get down and boogie moment.
Yeah.
But it's the get down and boogie moment. Maybe of the entire series.
Possibly. Hey, we're making big claims in this episode. All right. And that's possibly one we can make without walking it back.
I love that this whole scene is about a very threatening man with a gun coming in to shoot someone, and you and I
just spent time talking about
100% focused on Richard and the tree.
That's it.
That's our takeaway.
We'll switch over, right? So again, the dark music is happening, and we've seen everybody having fun, and now we see James come in focus, and we see him. We're looking directly at him, and he very slow-mo reaches and pulls the gun out from his pocket or waist of his pants, and then very slowly pulls it up and starts aiming, and he's walking with it aimed for a while. He's walking some steps.
He's walking through like multiple hanging bead curtains.
Yeah.
Which I was like, that's a choice.
So college.
Yes.
It's so college.
But it's like college plus then reality. I don't know. It was very weird.
Yeah.
Watching him like navigate the bead curtain with the gun.
That's what happens when you go through a bead curtain, except also when you don't have a gun.
Yeah.
The gun makes it trickier because you really want two hands to pull them apart.
Yes.
But he was already aiming.
Yeah, and he could have put his other hand up there and done sort of like a fish thing, where you.
I hear you. I hear what you're
saying.
But
nobody like breaststrokes their way through a party to shoot someone. That's
almost nobody. Yeah,
almost. I mean, I won't claim nobody.
Yeah, nobody we know of. So it's all slow-mo, and then he's looking really tense, and his face is all twisted up, and then blam! You hear the gunshot, and we go straight to black.
Yeah, and I went, what the hell? Melissa's very proud of herself.
I ruined your life by spoiling.
I mean, you ruined this episode except for the moment with Richard dancing with the tree.
I mean,
that is the only
moment
question. That I didn't
Did
care.
I really spoil you?
I mean, I don't, there's so many definitions of the word spoil.
Right? So it's like the spoiler was so big, it was nothing. Well, all I told you was what you already knew. I mean, there was a gun. Somebody was
getting shot.
Sure did.
But like,
why would they have a gun
to
if
go
nobody
through the entire episode of like, I couldn't enjoy the mistletoe and the like lovely holiday moments.
But I mean, even if you hadn't known that that was coming, what you get with James is so ominous all the way through anyway. It's like he's hanging around, he's waiting in the stairwell, he keeps calling, he's threatening Molly, he not charges, he's physically trying to intimidate Ben. You know, there's, I think even without me saying what I said, I think there was an intention of having him be a threatening presence that doesn't go away, because they just keep bringing him up and they keep having these scenes with Molly and James on the phone. And it's like, this guy.
I guess but it would have been a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
Because I would not have expected them to end the Christmas episode
Yeah.
with somebody getting shot. Like, the second he pulls out that gun, I would have been like, oh,
yeah,
no way.
Well, I think if you're watching this knowing, well, I guess they might not have known it was going to be April before they saw another episode. But I mean, it's a cliffhanger, that's for sure. You know, you want to know who's got shot when you come back, and you're in real time. And I'm guessing
it's not James, because he was clearly not aiming the gun at himself. I was really rooting for it to be James.
Yeah.
But also, here's the thing. You know how I said, you know, Molly walks away with James and all that stuff at the beginning, and then they just gloss over it? Mm-hmm. I feel like the next episode, they're just going to like gloss over the whole somebody got shot thing. It's like, so they're not going to, the person isn't going to be just fine, and then they'll continue, and within 2 episodes, we'll have forgotten it happened.
We will not forget that it happened. This thing that happens really, it shifts one person's trajectory tremendously, but it takes a little while to get to the final conclusion of what that looks like. But I think that you'll see that it has impacted a lot of people at the party. So I mean, is somebody going to heal? You know, like that's a different thing altogether than will it be forgotten, you know? And I think that this back half of season 3 looks pretty different altogether if you didn't have this. Which I think is a sign that it's not just glossed over, but is it going to be addressed how you want it to be? I don't know. I think it's going to usher in a new factor that a lot of people hate, but I'm going to be very interested to talk about it.
Is that I think Avery? Because you've talked about Avery in that way.
Yeah, it's going to be Avery. I think I have a feeling, and from what we've seen,
and a person is introduced.
Yeah, and
it's weird.
I think I don't get the feeling people love Avery in general, but I think there's a lot for us to talk about. So I don't know. I think it'll be interesting, but we'll see what you think of where we're headed for the rest of season 3. I
definitely don't remember any of this like at all.
Yeah.
Not even a little bit. Mm-hmm. Like I remembered some of the other stuff, but like, nope, no idea.
I don't know. I'll share more about this as we go through the rest of the season, but I think really interesting things come from James, unfortunately.
All right. Then.
So I don't know. I mean, stuff that I'm happy to talk about. Look, there's stuff in this show that I am not interested to talk about. Namely, there are things in season 4 that I'm going to like rage at the machine. But I don't know. Season 3 could be.
I mean, it hasn't been my favorite season so far. I've already given 2 of the episodes a 1.
Yeah, I know.
So we'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens.
And I was very upfront that my prediction was that, like, at the end of all this, I was going to say seasons 1 and 2 were my strongest. But now, as I think about what's ahead for us, I'm excited to talk with you about them. So I think that's something, right? Like, I think, there is something there. I think we've passed some of the episodes that I was like, what is going on? the Randy of it all, and the openings of Molly, and I don't know, a good egg. My Lord. Ironic name for an episode that should have been a bad egg. So anyway, Fish.
Yeah.
Let's go to the "You're the worst" segment.
Ooh, that was a good one. I mean, I think I've tipped my hand a bit, but Elena, you're the worst. You take Tracy's virginity with 0% sensitivity. And then you turn around and you're trying to manipulate him by asking if he regrets it and if he hates you now. I will give you credit for going to the pastor with him, but you miss the connection that Tracy has with the pastor. Let him speak. What he came away from that meeting with was that he knows you're not okay with the religious side of him. Then why did you sleep with him? And let's not forget, in the last episode, you used Tracy's devotion when it suits you, and you don't want him to be seen half naked in a calendar by all the other girls. While he's getting out of his head, maybe you should take a look into your heart. You can either accept the boy for who he is or let him go. Because until you do, Elena, you're gonna be the worst.
Elena, you're the worst. Okay.
Yes, this is my plea to Elena to figure her stuff out.
Okay. I mean, this is a big tough love sort of thing, because remember, folks, we have a character here who walked into a party ready to open fire. And that's not the person Fish thought of as the worst. So, Elena, Correct. That's a real lesson to you.
I mean, I knew that it may be controversial with somebody perhaps killing someone to choose not the killer. But look, James got "you're the worst" last time.
Sure
and
did.
Frankly, I think that just kind of covers this one, where it's let's just add that on to the last one. You're the worst for all those reasons.
Ample time talking about how bad James is. Yeah.
So, I'm going to spend the time talking to someone who might actually benefit from it, because this character of Elena is obviously going to change 20 years later. Okay. Based on what I have to say.
All right. Fair enough. Well, Fish, let's get into our favorite segment.
Yay.
After you listen to this tape, you have to erase it.
Exciting.
Where we talk about your feedback, listeners. Okay, first of all, we have a new friend to the podcast, Fish.
New friend?
We received an email from Jill.
Jill
Cheskis, who says, okay, so now remember, folks, we are going, because this is a new friend and we want to make new friends feel very welcome here. We're gonna go back to a question we posed in, I believe, the very first episode, which I actually think is perfectly suited to this episode. Remember the moment where Noel sees Felicity for the first time? He's holding a basket of laundry, as he wants to do, holding things. And he peers at Felicity through her door, and we felt she was wearing a nightgown. And we had quite a conversation about the nightgown.
Yes.
I think that we're back at that Noel right now, by the way.
Yeah.
So, Jill, your message was very well timed.
But also, I mean, how sad for Noel. Right?
Sad. Very sad.
Very sad.
This sad. My arms are spread very wide. Yes. Okay, Jill says, I just discovered your podcast, and as a Felicity aficionado, I immediately started listening. I'm only on episode 2, so if this comes up later, my apologies for being repetitive, but I don't think she's wearing a nightgown.
What?
I think it's a cotton mini dress. I have a vague recollection of that sort of utilitarian cotton jersey looking clothes from the 90s. And I think it's a dress. When she goes to Noel's room, she has put on a cardigan in the same fabric as the dress. I think that's the whole outfit. But what I think is interesting is that we really don't see her ever wear any other short, tight outfit for the rest of season 1. She's all big Benetton sweaters and baggy pants. She's in a short dress and her hair is down and in its glory. And as an aside, while I do love coming home and immediately getting into comfy clothes, nightgowns are not my first choice. Anyway, interested in hearing more?
Now we're going to have to go back. We're going to have to go back and look. Jersey dress or nightgown?
Listeners, we need you. Everybody, get on this. All of us. Jill has just rocked our worlds, okay?
Yeah.
Jill, good on you.
I mean,
welcome to the team.
Definitely, yeah. Definitely going to have to go back and look now. Because we had a whole conversation about nightgowns. I shared all kinds of stuff about like holidays and my mom and I getting matching nightgowns. And I mean, it was a thing. It was like a whole thing. And maybe it was completely out of place.
Maybe we just went on a complete non sequitur for a long time.
Yeah.
According to Jill, maybe. But delightful nonetheless. Thank you, Jill, for jumping in with this. And honestly, the timing of this is so eerily perfect.
And sad for Noel.
Because we were just talking about them at this party, just salivating over her. It's just like, this guy, what is his world? We have a few comments about Ben as well. From a couple different angles. So first, we have a conversation between two of our listeners that I liked. So, you know, one of the things that's really been striking me is this idea that Ben had friends, like a lot of, like more people around him in high school, and that he was in fact voted most popular. And what we have been seeing from Ben since basically after Lynn, like post swimming guys, Ben is almost always totally alone.
Yeah.
Other than Felicity, right? I'm just finding that so interesting. And so we have a couple comments here. We have one from @Insta.Mickey, who says, my take on Ben being most popular is that usually in high school, guys don't have to do much, just be there, gorgeous and unattainable. College, a lot of them have difficulties with adjusting because in college, there is adaptation and a lot of new challenges. Ben is right there. He wanted to run away and embrace his introspective self. He only opened up to Felicity and listens to her, and he needs to be able to trust her. In my opinion, he is not asking for much. Now, @Galinsky_ responded to that and said, I love this. I also think that his friends in high school probably weren't genuine friends, just buddies that he knew. His family life seemed like something he internalized a lot and grew burdensome when those issues came up in his own adult life in college.
Yeah. I can see that. I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think about it in my own context. And the thing is, I don't know, there were just very different people, I guess, in my high school. And so I feel like you either were with the popular crowd and like, I can't say that I know what that looked like, but I feel like people did have genuine friendships that came out of that. Some people got married. I happened to find a whole group of people, like a really fairly large group of people who had similar like home lives and experiences and, could relate to me. And so it was like, I don't know, we all had our own thing going on and stayed friends for quite a while. So it's just like, I think you can have both, but I don't know that he did, I guess. It could have been that he didn't have real friends, or it could have been that He had a couple of people.
Hmm.
I don't
Yeah.
think it was like everybody that he like bonded with on this type of level.
Yeah. Mm. Well, we've got one more comment about Ben, which I think is sort of uh, responding to a couple of theories that you've put out there, actually, Fish. At Aunt Mary 72
Aunt Mary.
says, yep, says two Ben related things. Number one, I don't think he was ever addicted to gambling. I think he just got into trouble and was trying to get out like an idiot. Number two, yes, 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 Ben has a hero complex. You ladies called it. And if I'm being honest, I mean, these are patented Fish theories here. You've got all the way thumbs up here from Aunt Mary 72.
Well, I appreciate that. I did think those things and then I said them. And so I'm glad that at least one person does also see that point of view. But I'll be interested to see how, because you've said some stuff too about sort of the hero complex thing. I'll be interested to see how it kind of moves forward. Um, but yeah, if we never hear about gambling again, then it's pretty hard to actually call that an addiction.
Yeah, reframed how I thought about it, that's for sure. Well, Fish, time for us to rate the episode. Did you want to jump in there
Yeah.
first or want me
No,
to?
I would like you to go first.
All right. I rated this one in the unit of Paul Conrad's.
Oh no, that guy.
Yeah, I had options, but I was like, Paul Conrad's, that's what's happening. And how did I arrive? How could this be, you ask? 8.4 out of 10 Paul Conrad's. Hey,
Wow.
who's to say how you get the 0.4? But anyway, I think that this episode is very memorable. I think that it has, when you really dig into a lot of these moments between these characters, we get a lot of good, rich stuff to unpack about the depth of psychology for these characters. We get some pairings of conversations that we never, like a Barbara and Noel and a Barbara and Ben conversation. How cool, to be able to talk about stuff like that. So the reason I didn't go higher than that is in the beginning, when we were talking about this, and it also landed this way when I was watching it, just the amount of exposition to cover stuff that happened off screen felt like maybe one of those episodes that they spent doing something that was useless, like around Molly, or maybe a good egg. Maybe we needed the episode that had some of the questions you wanted answered before this. And so they got there through exposition, which I thought was the weakest part of this episode, because once they actually got into the deep conversations between people, it was so interesting and so complicated and so like ruthless yet compassionate, like in different situations. It was just like hard and then also soft at the same time for me, and the juxtaposition of all of it is something I kept talking about because I feel that. So I really liked it, and I think they maybe missed an episode before this that they needed to answer a couple of the questions that they tried to just like, I don't know, have the expository dialogue through.
Yeah. I mean, I can see that. Um, I mean, the holiday ones are usually my favorites. And as always, I rate in glubs. Um, and I mean, everything you said is true. But unfortunately for me, a combination of the weird, terrible music choices and like everything that was going on with Molly and James that I didn't really care that much about. I don't know. It just started getting to be, I don't know, frustrating, I guess. And I mean, Eve Gordon is the highlight, I have to say. Not really loving the like backsliding by Noel, and like just the frustrations around Elena. And the fact that this entire time, yes, there was the juxtaposition, but I didn't like it. Like I wanted my fairy tale, like Christmas tree um apartments without the shit. And I wanted the like, you know, I wanted to know what happened to the trees and not just have Ben like run in. So it just, a lot of it did not work for me. And in the back of my mind, the whole time, I'm like, someone's getting shot, someone's getting shot. And then I don't find out who's getting shot. Um, so I guess I'm coming down at about a 6.
Yeah.
And that's with a significant bump for Richard just
With the tree.
dancing with that tree.
I hear you. I hear you. Bold move on their part for the editors to leave that in for the tone they were trying to set. It's
fair.
A full contradiction of the tone they were trying to set in that moment, but priceless. Okay.
But also exactly how I would expect Richard to be acting at this Christmas party.
Exactly. Okay. Yeah. Well, there you have it, folks. 6 out of 10 gloves, 8.4 out of 10 Paul Conrads for this episode. What did you think, though? That's our question. Tell us. We would love to hear from you. Send us your feedback, comments, your own rating, Felicity artwork, whatever feels right to you. And you can send that to themelissafish@gmail.com. That's Melissa with 1 L, 2 S's, themelissafish@gmail.com. And then if you want to get into the conversation, get amongst it, talk with all of us. Find us at Felicity Podcast on Instagram. And if you find that you want to know when the next episode is going to be released of our podcast, well, you don't have to guess anymore. You can get our newsletter where we tell you when we've dropped another episode. Just go to wherever you are listening to this one, check your show notes, and there's a link in there to sign up for the newsletter. While you're there, you know what else you should do? Rate or review this podcast, because it could help other people who love the show Felicity to find the podcast and the great long form conversations that we have. All right, Fish. The next episode is called Girl Fight. What do you think happens in Girl Fight?
I don't know, Girls Fight? That is such a weird episode title to come off of this episode with. I mean, okay, so somebody gets shot. Who's fighting? And why? And why is it only the girls? And why didn't they tell me who got shot? All right, so I am going to say that James shoots Elena by accident while trying to hit Molly or Ben, and that then Ruby and her baby come back and fight Felicity for Noel's hand in marriage. Okay. And Ben gets pissy about it.
Okay. All right. Folks, that's in the books. That's Fish's prediction.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I really don't know at this point what's happening.
I'm not even going to say, I'm not going to respond to it at all.
And then Avery comes. Avery, I don't know. Avery is, maybe she is Ruby's baby. Does everybody hate Ruby's baby? I mean,
this is delightful. Cool. This is so delightful. I'm loving this. Okay. Boy, a lot of your questions are going to be answered in Girl Fight.
I hope so. If they're not, I'd be kind of pissed.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's all the stuff. Anything else you wanted to mention about this one?
Nope. Mm-mm.
All right. Well, until next time, fish, don't hook up with Ben while I'm gone.
I'm a fish.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.